What you gonna do? What you gonna do? I've been in the good times already. You can see it on my face. I know. No more racing. We got it. We could reach it. Yeah, we got it. Oh, I'm feeling good like that. So what you gonna do? And I can't stop thinking about you. What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Rumor has it that there are 7 days of the week. There's a Monday, there's a Tuesday, there's a Wednesday, there's an N, and then there's an E, and there's a C, and a C. And that is your days of the week, ladies and gentlemen. But what if I told you there is one other very secret, hidden day of the week that you only unlock when you're watching this broadcast? That is called the Wenzel's Meat Stick State Farm, Super Farm Day of the Week, and it comes with us, Ooey and Gooey here. We are ready for some amazing NECC action. How are you, CB?
I'm doing wonderful. You know, I hate to say it. I hate to say it about Wenzel's, but I think today might actually be a slightly more important day than Wenzel's Super Farm Day. I think it's actually Grand Finals Day for the NECC fall season. We've got two back-to-back Grand Finals matches on deck for you today, Division 6 and then also later on Division 1. We are going to have new champions crowned by the end of the night. I think that's just a little bit more important than a Wenzel's meat stick.
Well, luckily for us, though,
I know who I'm talking to. I know who I'm talking to.
That is true.
But
that is true. I mean, look, we are here to promote so many amazing things, the students, the players, and not even just Wenzel's. NECC wouldn't be possible without our amazing partners like without Wenzel's, By Blue Light, Extron, so many people. But you're absolutely right, CB. Today is the day to see in these divisions who can be the ultimate winner. These teams have been fighting since, well, I guess the beginning of their academic careers, it feels like, to get to where they're at now in Marvel Rivals.
Which might as well be the beginning of time, because time doesn't really start until you go to college. That's what most historians say.
Marvel
Colleges. Oh, yeah. I mean, time does not start until you first ignite that time stream the very first time. Anyway, the two colleges that we got going on first are going to be from our Division 6. We have got Lander University Academy going up against White. We've got University of Florida with the Gators back on for another show. One of their academy teams coming to the fold to face off against Lander University. I think this one is going to be a very interesting one, because looking at the bracket, both of these teams narrowly escaped out of semifinals in 5-map bangers across the board. And before that, 3-1. It's been a rocky road for the both of them. And I want to ask you personally, while we're looking at the rosters here, put yourself in the shoes of any one of these students and ask yourself, do you feel more or less confident coming into Grand Finals knowing that you just narrowly escaped?
Well, I have some bad news, CB. I'm wearing sandals. So imagine I was wearing shoes and we could see if I could put myself in that position. I would be a little nervous. I mean, again, you've been working for months to get to this spot. Like you mentioned, narrowly made it out of semifinals. I can only imagine, depending on how well the scrims and maybe even footage that you have to look over in the semis to get to this Grand Final spot can go for both these teams, I think we're going to have a very, very long series on our hands, and I honestly wouldn't want it any other way.
I sure hope so. I mean, the holiday season is right around the corner, and there's no better gift than I want than a 5-map banger and the opportunity to cast it. And there's no better gift than these players can give to their teammates than the opportunity to lift that metaphorical trophy. Sadly, this is an online tournament. We don't have a literal trophy for them to all coalesce and lift, but, you know, maybe they'll go out and get one in the college esports room.
They can go chop
frame
it
it,
down
put it
in
up
the
somewhere
forest.
nice. Yeah, they can just go find the nearest trophy tree.
Exactly. I mean, I see trophy trees all the time. Or maybe they can go to the Wenzel farm and get themselves a meat trophy.
Well, speaking of where they can go, where do you think that they're going to go for their first map?
Well,
ooh, we already got the answer.
That's right.
It is It's not your least favorite. It's not Hell's Heaven for once.
Thank you. First of all, both these teams are off on a very good start. I like Bernard T'Challa because there's variety when it comes to the domination points. There's more to do, but it also makes things pretty nerve-wracking at times as well because there is similarities with some of the points. There is variety with others, but that does lead to a macro level where these teams, they could snowball pretty heavily in aggro play if they capture the point first.
I also do kind of feel like, with Bernard T'Challa specifically at this level, we're going to tend to see a little bit more of those kind of individual pop-off performances and less of that coordinated team play. And Bernard T'Challa, especially Stellar Spaceport, is one of those maps that can lend itself very well to things like long-range hit scan. You got your things like the Hela, the Namor, still with the team up, by the way. You've got things like the Phoenix or the Hawkeye that a lot of the times like to come out onto the fold, and some of these players feel like they can just take over the lobby if they just get those sight lines, and Bernard T'Challa is very friendly with those sight lines.
Yes, it is. I mean, even with Burnin specifically, too, you have the Venom Jeff team up, which we have been seeing banned a lot more as of late in NECC, I think across all divisions. But just for an early speed boost, to have that capability for an early pickup on the drop, I think that's always important to see. But it's our favorite time of the day. This is where we can pretend to be Magneto and Professor X. We get to see the picks and bans. And we are off to that certified NECC moment. I wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah, that's a J. Jonah Jameson ban right there if ever I have seen one. Pictures of the guy, but no thank you to the actual Spider-Man. What's going to be interesting, though, is, again, we're not going to be, like, this is Division 6, so it's not going to be the highest of high levels, but the meta kind of, like, trickles down and then takes its own sort of shape here. I know for a fact at the top levels, Gambit is extremely strong and is essentially a permaban. But down here, I'm not sure if some of these players might have picked up to the Gambit wave yet, or maybe they are on it, but they don't exactly just know.
Have.
They have to. I mean, he's like the hot new hero. He's the new hotness that everyone's picking up. I got to imagine he is hot. I mean, like he's what he does. I get it. I can see it. I can see what Rogue's into there with that one, but. Do these players see what Rogue's into with him? Because, like, we're not seeing the insta ban, so either these teams both really want to run Gambit, or they're just not afraid of him. And either way, I think that's interesting.
Interesting anti-trap ban coming out from the Moon Knight on UF White's side. It seemed like with the Spider-Man ban originally, it was to be anti-speed. They don't want to deal with any gimmicky plays. Maybe they don't want to deal with the AoE of Moon Knight. A lot of these are just safety bans from things just individual players can pop off with. So maybe the expectation for UF White, in a counterplay sense, is expecting Landor University to play more on an individualistic level.
I think a lot of these players, like I said, are going to be trying to play on an individualistic level. And, like, the bans to me just kind of strike me as, like, let's just ban out things that are annoying. I don't like playing against Spider-Man either. I can assure you, like, that. I will be happy for a Spider-Man ban any day of the week.
Every 3 seconds.
I hate getting logged by Hawkeye when I'm not even seeing it coming. Like, homie can just hit me a long-range lobotomy with a great oak tree. Well, I mean, Clint's your man.
Yeah.
Not going to be in this game, though. He's getting banned out, but we are going to have the Punisher being protected here. So a lot of front-loaded damage, a lot of front-to-back composition style sweeping, shaping up here. From what I'm seeing, even a Venom ban just to try and take a little bit more of that dive off the table.
Yeah, dive off the table, that's definitely the big factor. Normally we see the Venom and or the Jeff ban to be the anti-team up with that speed boost. I talked about it before as an important factor. The Hela's ban gone too, so these last two had to have been anti-just team-up factors. You don't have to worry about the Hela and Namor matchup anymore. If we do see some dive capabilities off of UF White, we'll have to wait and see how things match up now. I imagine both these teams leaving Gambit on the board, CB. Surely we'll have a Magneto, Gambit, Emma team up for both of these teams? Double shields?
I mean, perhaps. I mean, we're seeing both Vanguard lines currently hovering over the Magneto, and I do think that Magneto is also S tier right now, very strong at all levels of play, and definitely going to need him coming into the fold here. Part of what's making him strong, though, as well, is the Gambit team-up, so looking to see if any of these teams make a swap over onto the King of Thieves over there. I'm also looking right now at Tabby on the Doctor Strange. We're actually seeing that being mirrored over on the side of UF White as well. We're going to see potentially these early Strange portals come out, or are they just trying to hold them for the later recontest? We'll have to see. At this level, it's really a crapshoot. It could go either way.
It's going to be tough with Warrior Falls, too. It's definitely the oddball out when it comes to Burn and T'Challa. The other 2 points are very similar in terms of structure. Warrior has a lot of environmental damage happening, so you can't necessarily take this first point and expect yourself to go for the second. Very curious to see about Landor's composition, too. They don't know they're facing Shiba Chiba on the Punisher just yet, but even without that consideration, CB, there's not a lot of damage whatsoever from Landor's output.
I do like this portal placement, though, as it blocks off White's approach here, so Landor basically just have this choke point that they can just pump the damage down with the Iron Man. Iron Man, you know, you talk about how much you love Squirrel Girl. Iron Man is basically Squirrel Girl that flies, and he can take a couple lives. One of them going to be raised back up with a BRB, but 2 easy KOs coming out for Mr. Tony Stark there, and KD Android going to help his team secure the first half there.
I can't believe this is working. This should not work for the Iron Man whatsoever. You're up against the Bucky, who can drain the HP of anybody on the enemy team, but you have the hit scan of Shiba Chiba that should melt Iron Man and prioritize him completely. KD should have been 2-shot at the beginning of this game, but he managed to get away with heroics and still stay alive. Pulse Cannon is out, ready for what could be an ultimate shot, but unfortunately he saves it and goes down with the ship. Shiba Chiba makes his way back onto the stage. The domination point is out now, and Landor University, despite everything, has been able to capture it at 30%.
Houseman Garden Amplifier just for a little bit of extra damage there. Shiba Chiba trying to get that damage in there with the shotgun and finish off a stagger KO onto Bathtub Toast. Will do exactly that. You talk about whether or not, like, you know, how surprised you are that the Iron Man was working, but it's all about the map geometry. The fact that UF White were walking on into that tunnel and KD Android was just able to pump in the damage essentially for free, you know, fish in a barrel kind of situation. But once the fish go out of the barrel, they kind of flop around all over the place. It's really hard for them to be pinned down. Yeah. And then UF White just pop their ults and get the Regan test here, and now...
Hold on, though. Flop fish will eventually die without water, so UF White, they should be able to
They had
lose
more
this
than
point.
enough ultimates to wet their whistle, let me tell you. And now they've got enough to take down IDK How to Play.
Well, I guess the gills have turned into lungs. We'll have to wait and see what this adjustment could be now from the Iron Man. Up and above, looking for an easy snipe. That ultimate prepped and ready, but instead, Pulse Cannon could very well be out. We see Ensong Inferno out from the Phoenix pick, but unfortunately, it doesn't find a lot of damage. Instead, though, it's going to be the Ender coming out from KD that removes the Doctor Strange from play. There's a lot of ultimates set up and ready. Landor is going to use this as their entryway back in. Of course, though, we do get to see Agamotto out now from the Doctor Strange. That'll stifle everyone in their place. But instead, Landor have used all their ultimates at once, perfectly taking back the control point.
And there was a little bit of a layering of the ultimates there. You had that Pulse Cannon alongside the Meteor M as well, both just to try and shut down the Strategist ultimates on the other side, which... both smart plays from Android and IDK How to Play individually, but layering them both at the same time is going to present a bit of a problem once UF White start to come back into the fold. That invisible boundary is going to charge up a lot faster than either of those ultimates if Slayer is able to keep up the healing here. John Grain holding on to this Cosmic Yarn Amplifier should be able to pop this aggressively for UF White if they should so choose, but losing aim is something early on. The BRB already burned. UF White can't afford to be too sloppy on their approach here.
Cosmic Yarn Amplifier set up and ready now off of the hands of this Rocket Raccoon. Shiba Chiba's going to follow up a final judgment. Of course, in top of that too, you have yourself an ultimate down below, but that's from Bathtub side. It should melt everyone away! Shiba melted down the entirety of Landor directly at their feet! That is a comeback if I've ever seen one.
Shiba, I didn't know you were like that, but that was absolutely disgusting. The tracking on that ulting Cloak and Dagger through the Eternal Bond, able to just melt Tandy back down to nothing, and UF White able to retake off of just that 79% apiece, now crossing that 80% threshold, and Kiyoshi with just a random headshot there at the Shiba Chiba. The BRB gonna be burned already, but again, UF White using that resource early, 30 seconds before it's gonna be available again, and if Landor can find one more KO, they will be able to flip this one.
It's gotta be KD as the ace in the hole to get back into this. Prevent OT, Invisible Woman brings down her boundary, up close, finds nothing? That is so unfortunate, and everyone falls at once. That BRB brought out, put Shiba back in the game immediately, and look at the results. UF White, it was scary at first, but without a single hero change coming up from Landor University, they didn't find that same stride coming back into it.
I think that pulse cannon that came out from KD Android was trying to shut down that invisible boundary, but I think Slayer might have hit force physics and gone for a little boop there, and Android just kind of lost track of the target, wasn't able to confirm the KO on that one, and with no Meteor M, there was no risk of double dipping that time around, so Lander didn't even have the insurance policy, and UF White are able to sneak away with that one despite a fair bit of heroics from Lander, and you gotta give it up for Shiba off of one round, by the way. My guy's got 10k damage and 8 final hits. Android is competitive there with 5, but it feels like night and day when you look at the overall limbs.
I like this change up too from UF White. Not only did they convert the first round, but they've recognized how front-loaded Landor University are playing their stack up. There's no flanks. There's very little maneuverability coming out.
You keep saying Landor. I think you're thinking of some Star Wars, some Andor.
No, yeah, but there's actually there is a Landor, I think, University in other esports games too, which, you know, grammar is always weird. But it really comes down to this. If it's so front-loaded, we see AIM swapping over to the Mr. Fantastic pick. That's going to give a lot more punchy potential to a team with only 2 healers, one of which being the Rocket, means that there's not a lot of healing output compared to UF White's team. They can continue to contest for the front lines, and once one starts to crumble, it should be easy to take down everybody else.
There are some people who do believe that Mr. Fantastic is underrated. Tabby going to go in over the top with the Eye of Agamotto. Good force physics to stop the follow-through from coming up, and a great mag bubble as well coming out to try and save John Green, but it's not going to be enough as Android is there with the follow-up, and IDK how to play with a little bit of sword action there. Nearly gets swooped into the hole there, but nevertheless, Lander able to get away with first cap on the point at 10% and counting. And even though UF White are finding a couple of frags on the opposite end, they're going to be rezzed right back up. It's not going to be enough to make anything stick.
Yoshi and KD are off angling now. They're looking to find a way to break through the back line of UF White to get rid of those healers and make sure now with a lesser Vanguard lineup that things will be more hurty. But unfortunately, though, there hasn't been a way in just yet. Never mind. That's going to be a triple stack coming out from Lander. They've been able to stuff out UF White, but it was the first ult stack back over on Warrior Falls that allowed UF White to take control of the domination point and never let go.
Android is just getting so much value off of this Iron Man pick, because again, we talk about the map geometry and how Shiba should just be able to melt this Iron Man, but just can't seem to get the shots in when he really needs to, and that's just because of the ways that Android is playing the cover right now and the usage of the map geometry to his advantage to make sure that he's able to get access to the backline from above, and no one really has the opportunity to check him right now.
Here we go, Pulse Cannon's looking to be set up and ready. Comes down to the ult up now from UF White. He likes to hide inside this invisible boundary. But instead, it's not activated just yet. It's I don't know how to play. And buddy, I feel that. Sometimes I don't either. But he's been frontlining so hard. He gets a double knockout doing so.
I don't know if IDK how to play is the right name. If that's true, homie figured it out pretty damn fast and might win a Grand Finals championship if we can keep this one up as Lander.
Ever.
I sincerely doubt that because I was whiffing Meteor M's. I was not hitting him the way homie is hitting him the first time I picked up that boy.
Bro is John Marvel rivals. But can Kiyoshi be the second coming of Marvel itself? We'll have to wait and see. Agamotto was out now. Kiyoshi does end up evading it. Strange on strange action though. A whip fest is out, but unfortunately does not amount to a whole lot. All the ultimates are out from both of these teams, and while the cycling's looking good for UF White, they have not found their mark on this second point just yet. They did end up winning the first point, but this one and Stellar are very similar to each other. It could spell doom for UF White on map number 1 if they can't convert this now. Invisible boundary is back out yet again, giving them quite literally a boundary to get onto the point. Bodies are falling left and right. And a moment to breathe, CB. Finally, now UF White have their first percentages.
They're going to have to make a whole run back, though. It's 99% for Lander University, and I got to highlight the bubble right now because, I mean, the VRBs are so clutch for Lander University, and the way they're playing around them, they know exactly when they have that resource and when they need to cool their jets and not go too aggressive. So every single time that UF White finds an opening frag, it gets rezzed up, and Lander University, they don't get too big for their britches. They don't try and walk forward and take more space than they can. They back up and wait until they have their full stack, and then they get another res beacon, 30 seconds. That buff coming out to the BRB is paying off dividends for Lander University, and UF White, while they are leveraging it as well, it's not to the same effect.
Oh, hitting them with that old Brainiac bounce, the Karmic Revival, the Kraken Arm, 2 different Ks, could very well be the follow-up, and Chiba's rotating. He's leaving the rest of his team behind, but he's off-angling from behind, activates some damage from his ult, and get rid of that Iron Man early. That would have been the biggest stopping power from his ultimate, finding impact. He's good for one, but he can't follow up from the other. All of Lander, they come together and make sure that Sheba, priority number 1, falls behind. And so does the overtime for UF White. That's going to be an even game.
I'm not sure if Sheba got booped into the pit there or was trying to go for a rotation, but either way, it took too long to come to fruition that when that Kraken impact comes out, it has the potential to be huge, but homie takes a little bit of chip damage, can't quite get the healing, and isn't going to be able to finish his meal there, and that ties us up 1-1. Lander might be able to make a comeback here. They look really strong on Institute of Science, and now as we head on over to Stellar Spaceport, I'm going to be looking at Kiyoshi, the Phoenix, to try and take over this fight here for the side of Lander University. This is where the long-range hit scan comes into the fold, and is Chiba making the swap off of the Punisher over to the Psylocke? Now AIM is something making the swap as well. It's time to see what the hit scan players over at the side of UF White can do.
I'm going to play Detective Keg for a second, CB. I think for sure that end round play from the Winter Soldier was a rotation. Sheba's realizing now that both these teams, again, have been very frontline loaded and that they are just clashing damage against each other, playing for ultimates, the leverage impact against each other. Having someone to take those wider extremities, like a Psylocke, potentially flanking, while AIM is focusing on that Iron Man as well, it's enough to pick damage away, go for the dance of the butterflies, and maybe find that backwards impact to take down the very well-placed strategists that Lander have for a chance to bring back this dub.
I'm really liking the portal usage coming out here from Tabby, using the portal to block off the sight lines. It's very high-level play intellect that you see coming out from the side of Lander University, and the rest of the team able to play around it, using it as a pseudo-shield. And now with the Eye of Agamotto coming out, the real shield is going to be on deck to block the incoming damage. Cosmic Yarn amplifiers on both sides. The pulse cannon finds 3! Android coming online. That's the big one we were looking for. Jarvis, clip that.
Oh, Android's activated. Hello, new version. That's what we like to see. That is an upgrade for sure. And that's UF White gone. But I will say, though, CB, history does repeat itself. This has been the beginning of every single domination round. Always an early lead from Lander until the ults are built up.
It has been, but Lander do have a fair bit of momentum. They also have 2 Vanguard ultimates that they could use to try and shut down anything that UF White try to come forward with. And UF White don't have any strategist ults anytime soon, so there's really no reason for IDK how to play to pop this Meteor M unless he absolutely has to. And by that time, Lander are already so far ahead.
But surely it has to be the Agamotto to be procced out instead, and it certainly is. I don't know how to play. You're completely right. Doesn't even need to use Meteor M. He's going to wait for those strategists to build their ults up again. And that is a clean sweep from Lander.
Slayer only at 71% up to that invisible boundary. So again, IDK how to play just gets to hold on to this for another ult rotation. And again, like by the time those ultimates come online, Lander are looking at a 99%. As long as they can hold this ground, they have a win condition already set up. UF White have to try and find a way to break it. Perhaps this final judgment could force out the Meteor M, but you also have strategist ultimates for Lander. So there's so many options here.
I'm looking at Chiba almost getting Dance of the Butterflies. That could force out Bathtub Toast to bring Eternal Bond out. However, Valfan's not too far behind. He won't be able to counter it with the Meteor M just yet of his own. Everything's got to be played carefully. Instead, the ult was used before Dance of the Butterflies was procced out. Time and patience is a virtue. Chiba can play the waiting game. Look for the prime target. Who is the squishiest? And right outside the ult, that's Kiyoshi gone when it matters most. Invisible boundaries out. Entry point in. Great comms are out, and KD is set up for pulse cannon yet again. Oh, I know how tantalizing this looks. It's prime rib season. Thanksgiving came late, but the turkey is gone. That's both the strategists off the table. UF White, they have no survivors. Lander, despite a faulty Warrior Falls, they won the 2 sides that seem pretty dang close together.
And it's the Iron Man pick at the end of the day that ends up winning the day for Lander. Burn and T'Challa will go their way. They get that early momentum on the series. They're going to have the benefit of map picks if we end up going to a map 5 now, assuming, you know, they can keep things going in their favor for just one more here. And if you're UF White, there's a lot that you can kind of hang your hat on going forward, especially when it comes to these duelist lines. We're seeing some crazy plays coming out for the Punisher, but overall, the team play for Lander University is much higher level than what I think we'd be used to seeing around, you know, Division 6. Like, this is pretty impressive stuff coming out for Lander. There is a reason that they have made it to this grand finals. We know for a fact there is a reason for UF White as well, but we need to see that come to fruition, and we're only going to have about 2 more maps before we need to see it.
I completely agree with you, CB. And just to focus on that point of team play really quick, Tabby got MVP, and while it's well-deserved, honestly, I think Bubble and Bathtub deserve MVP the most. Their strategist line made what I thought would be, frankly, a terrible decision made at the start of this game, bringing out the Iron Man against a hit scan like Punisher, which is usually a direct hard counter, worked fantastically. KD ended game 1 28-9 and never once felt pressured to swap off because of the sheer value of the strategic heals being brought out, countered the counterplay perfectly.
And again, it's because he understands how to play this hero with the map geometry, and it's so hard for these hit scan heroes to be able to get the shots that they need in order to take down a flyer like that when they understand how to play it. And that also kind of goes into the team composition and the ways that the team plays. Lander understand that if they've got a man down, they can't play far forward, and you also can't have Android posted up too far. He's got to play on an angle somewhere safe where he can pump in the damage in the backline, still be a threat, still put that pressure so UF White can't just walk forward for free, but he's not at risk of getting just shot out of the sky before that beacon comes back up.
That's right, and KD was also playing really risky too. Typical Ironmans do play exclusively backline. They think it's the safety part, but unfortunately, a lot of the time, having a lack of a body in near the front or midline means that there is one less person to absorb extra damage from the strategist, or even at times the other duelist, or sometimes even the vanguards, right? But because we saw KD play directly in the action a lot of the time, he made the most value out of his kit than any other Ironman I think we've seen, I want to say, in the entirety of NECC, including all divisions.
And I know it's also a small sample size, but I do also sense a worrying trend for UF White here is that Lander University are starting to come online. Their coordination is starting to get even better, and there were a couple missteps on Warrior Falls. I could talk about the layering of the Meteor M alongside the Pulse Cannon, but that didn't happen again after Warrior Falls. As soon as we moved on to Institute of Science, it was near perfect play across the board, and even more so on Stellar Spaceport. We never saw that again. They were calling out whose ultimate they were going to use to try and shut down a strategist ultimate. IDK How to Play, we called out his Meteor M like 3 minutes, like he was just able to hold on to it, never had to use it, and even still Android was like, I got this, all right. I see an Eternal Bond, this one's all mine, let me get another clip here. You had your 2K earlier on, let me one up you.
I mean, I really like Lander having pressure tools out. You have the Pulse Cannon, you have Meteor M. Strategists won't be able to get away with a lot if UF White keep going the way that they're going too. Makes me very curious to see what the picks and bans for the next map are going to look like, depending on what it is. I can't imagine we're going to see more Spider-Man bans coming out. Surely we will see more counterplay bans coming out from UF's side. Maybe getting rid of that Iron Man, right?
It's going to depend very heavily on UF White's read of the map pick, because it is going to be their map pick, so they could potentially just go a map where they feel like they're going to have some of these better sight lines. But that said, I feel like that map would have been burned into T'Challa. Like, that should have favored the hit scan, especially Institute of Science, but realistically, only when you have the control of the map, or, specifically Stellar Spaceport, but both, honestly, all three of them, but Stellar Spaceport the most, if you have control of the point. They need to be able to keep control of the point with whatever map they should so choose. Like, sure, you could take it to Midtown and still maybe set your hit scans in a way up where they could shut down an Iron Man quite effectively, but only if you have control of the map and you understand how to set your hit scans up in that way. And I feel like Lander University might just be one step ahead in that regard.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that. It's not even necessarily that it's the Iron Man that was the winning factor for KD. I think the way that he maneuvered himself was very valuable. I think the way he was good at positioning himself and allowing to work with the rest of his team and not be this solo rogue hero to find impact in the server was very valuable. So if you what's up?
So I was gonna say, like, something else that is also like worth bringing up here is also what you said earlier with like how it's hard for these strategists to try and play around when you have both a Meteor M and a Pulse Cannon that can shut your ultimates down. It's kind of a hard counter to the way a lot of teams at these lower levels like to play. They like to play that very front to back brawl heavy style where they don't have to go on too many flanks. They don't have to try and take too many duels. They just try and fight as a team and wait for the individual pop off moments to happen. Invis, Cloak and Dagger, Luna, they're all fantastic when it comes to those sorts of compositions. You're not going to see a whole lot of dive compositions where things are a little bit more scattered or segmented, because we're seeing bans on heroes like the Jeff, who doesn't really worry as much about these pulse cannons.
Well, I am ready to pop off too. I want to see what the next map is going to be. Production already knows. They're keeping it hidden from us. Our personal war with production. Oh, never mind. We surrendered. Clintar.
Yeah.
Okay. I personally think this is a great Iron Man map.
I agree, which makes it all the more weird that UF White would pick it. I will concede though that like it's very defensive favored on the first point in both directions. Like you can
Yeah.
set your hit scan up and make it very hard for an Iron Man to approach. You can also on the attacking side have a very hard time getting over that ceiling to try and take down the Iron Man who's able to just spam down that choke as well. I think this might warrant a ban on Mr. Tony Stark. We might have to eat the rich.
Oh man. Well, at least maybe his pet robot Ultron might be able to make an appearance here, depending on how KD likes to
So
play.
true.
Having aggressive potential on a triple strategist line is risky in this meta, but Gambit also wasn't banned. So you could have like Ultron, Gambit, Strange, Mag. What would the other duelist be? Kiyoshi? I guess still the Phoenix.
Something I think is interesting in the current meta now that I haven't seen a lot, but I feel like I might. Like it makes sense to me in my head.
Right
So
on
this
me.
is just me pulling a theory out of nowhere. Like this is my crackpot.
I love your
season
crackpot
5 meta
theories.
theory. Is that Gambit is so crazy strong, right? That all the top teams are insta banning him. But that means that they're not insta banning Mantis, and she is another hero that enables a lot of these very heavy damage front-loaded triple strategist compositions like the ones we see with the Ultron or like with the Groot Loki team-ups that are just, so packed with healing and damage and so difficult to break that I think we might be coming into something absolutely broken in season 5. We'll see if it comes to fruition here. I doubt. Again, total crackpot theory. Don't know if it's real. Don't know if either of these teams have picked up on my theory that I just made up on the spot right now. But they have picked up on that Spider-Man is annoying to play, and they're going to start with a Spider-Man ban. And of course, Hawkeye as well.
Did Mantis
Second
pay you
verse,
off
same
to
as the
say all
first.
that? Are you
She
bought
did
by
not.
Big Mantis?
Yeah, she would have to pay me. She would just have to, like, touch my arm. That's, like, what she does. She just, like, empathizes with
I
you.
don't mind that either. Spider-Man's gone.
I-
Hawkeye, we say goodbye to as well. The Hella Reserve is interesting. Surely that's a Kiyoshi swap.
Absolutely, and I think it kind of goes to show that they are worried about the flyers coming out from Lander again, specifically that Iron Man, and they're worried about how defender favored this can be in either situation. You can set the Hela up somewhere where you can pretty much cut off an Iron Man's approach from any angle, and even if you don't play Iron Man, you still have potentially one of the strongest duelists in the game right now. I think everybody's got her around S tier, if not for Daredevil being essentially an unchecked god. I mean, Hela would be the best duelist in the game right now. So, yeah, all around great protect coming out for UF White. They might actually be able to get ahead on this.
And surely because the Hella Reserve, we don't see the Namor ban. The Namor composition back on Domination wouldn't really favor how either one of these teams play just because of how group dive heavy they are. But I would like to see, well,
I feel like the Helena Moore composition would suit UF White quite well, though. Like their
Really?
playstyle, again, it's very front to back favored, and I do also think that both of their duelists showed a proficiency for hit scan characters, and while Namor isn't quite a hit scan, he's about as close as you can get. Like it's a really fast traveling projectile, and he plays the same as basically any hit scan. If you can play Hello, you can play Namor. So
sure. I think the value that we could see off of Sheba bringing out, say, the Psylocke again in this matchup would be a lot higher of a value than Namor here. And look, I'm a Namor enjoyer too. I love playing him. He's fantastic in almost all scenarios. But there comes a point where even though he does a lot of high damage output, it still gets absorbed so quickly when you just have a massive HP bars up against another. So I think having a Winter Soldier Hela team up or a combination could work well here for UF White. But I think we're going to fall into the same category again where, yeah, Sheba's goal here is going to be to break up the back line and make sure that the front line gets significantly weaker as time goes on.
I also, real quick about the bans, like that Punisher ban for Lander, because they don't need to protect the Iron Man. You already see Android hovering over it. They know that Iron Man made it through the ban phase, so they don't have to worry about protecting him or banning him. They see the Hela protect, and they just want to try and lock down the double hit scan. Sure, aim is something, wants to play the Bucky anyway. Winter Soldier, again, another S-tier duelist, but not always the best against Iron Man, at least compared to something like the Punisher. It's definitely a lot easier for a Punisher to hit their shots on an Iron Man than it is for a Bucky. That said, still not a bad look overall for UF White. I think both teams kind of come out of this ban phase feeling like they got something that they wanted.
Yeah, I think no complaints from either side either. I do agree with that. I'm really curious to see how the Psylocke and the Angela are going to play up against one another. Again, I'm looking at the frontline capabilities of UF White and how significantly weaker this initial push will be. It's been the weakest aspect, too, from UF White, has been the initial push. So
Well, the initial push is going to be a very aggressive
high
one
risk,
with
high
an Angela
reward.
composition. I'm liking this like kind of flank split rotation here from UF White. We'll see what ends up happening with it. You can kind of see the silhouette right now for Shiba just going up the main choke while the rest of UF White is rotating up over onto this high ground, kind of following along with the Angela, who once this wall comes down, I don't know if they're going to set up here as a team or if they're going to try and just go for a play once we get a kidnap going with the Angela here, but here we go. Shield already out. They know UF White is there. They made a lot of noise on their approach. My team was not subtle. Stealth stat, bit of a low roll.
Facing the entire team around on the other side away from the main choke does make Shiba's life easier here. Aim something should be able to have a better angle as well for an early crack and impact. And at 40%, he's looking to cycle his ultimate very effectively. Lander University are surrounded though, and UF White have been able to hold the tide very well thus far. It's just a matter of seeing what is going to be the opening chain link fence to break on down. And so far, Angela targeting this Iron Man is expected to be a very unknown challenge. That's Tabby to take one down, Android soon to follow. UF White, they have come into this with a macro plan in mind, and they know how to disassemble Lander.
And what's interesting is we didn't actually see the BRB res come out when that first KO came through onto Tabby, so you didn't actually get your Doctor Strange back into the fight soon enough. I mean, you can live with losing both him and Android at the same time, but you can't live with doing both, and UF White just finding these staggered KOs one after the other. This should be enough to get the cap here. Tabby might be able to go for a Strange TP, but looks like no, he's going to opt to hold on to it, and UF White will get that cap, get this first cart moving, and do it ultless. So they're going to have a lot coming into this streets phase here.
Yeah, UF White have played this so well. It's just a matter of how well the team can peel from here on out. It's not something we had to see a whole lot of with every fight back on Domination being just giant ult fests. But unfortunately, the Angela does fall. Overextended just a tiny bit. Luckily now the BRB does come out and brings Angela directly back into the fray. But bodies are falling one by one from UF White. The Angela forces the peel off just in time. Pulse Cannon set up and ready for the Iron Man. What a push coming out from Slayer, sending possibly an entire team save.
Nearly actually forced a bit of a mishap. Danger close situation coming out from Android, but IDK
Good
out to
Lord.
play with the Meteor M. That is the meteor
My
that
God.
made the dinosaurs go extinct.
Plenty of oil here on Clintar now. The only survivor being Sheba is forced away for the rest of his team to come on back. Luckily though, both
Where's the party, guys? I'm
where'd everyone go? But look at
well, they faced an extinction event. Thy name is IDK How to Play, and now, I mean, UF White, they have this aggressive comp, and they have the BRB as well, so they can go in aggressively here now that they know that at least the worst of it, as far as the ults go for Lander University, have already been bled out. Trying to go for a kidnap there onto Tabby, but a great mag bubble again from IDK How to Play. The mag play is paying off so well, and Android with an early KO there.
I love this targeting from Lander up against UF White. It's the Angela to take the brunt of this damage and was even hit by the Agamotto. Tabby and Co have been able to keep everyone at bay so effectively. Dance of the Butterflies along with Heaven's Retribution takes down the entirety of Lander. But what we're seeing now from both these teams, CB, especially from UF White's side, has been impact mostly from the hands of just ult dumps.
From UF White, what I'm seeing now as well is an ability to take all of this forward position and force Android into an uncomfortable situation where this Iron Man is going to stop getting value. A fair bit of damage coming out. I think that was out of range of the BRB as well, so we're not actually going to see the res there. And UF White's advantage might have just evaporated. They do still have the crack and impact, so they could try and make up for the loss in manpower with the ultimates, skip that step there, but it looks like they're just going to back up and wait until they have a full 6 before they try to commit. Aim is something, though, taking down Kiyoshi. Now they have the man advantage, and Android just takes it away.
Oh, it's so messy right now. It is just 1v1 after 1v1. Track and Impact is out now. Could this be the counterplay needed to bring out KD's Pulse Cannon? Probably not. Slayer's going to be the #1 player to look at right now, whether they bring out their own ultimate on Invisible Woman, or the fact that they could wait out the Iron Man ult itself to get that impact. There it is, Meteor M. Does that shut down the Iron Man? No. But no, it's a net neutral. Nothing happens with either ult.
As a net neutral, just, you know, a good defensive utility to try and shut down the Meteor M, though. But now you got more coming online for UF White that they can continue to hold their ground here now. IDK how to play, just looking like he's being swarmed by sharks right now. And Bathtub Toast no longer going to be there to heal. Dance the Butterfly going to come out from Shiba Chiba. That's going to find at least a 2K. Make it a 3! The Dance of the Butterfly. Homie is dancing with everyone. It's the Harlem Shakeout here. Kiyoshi, though, with the Goddess of Death, finds 3. And Lander looking to try and turn it. Shiba has to go absolutely huge. Takes down IDK out of play, but Tabby with the Maelstrom of Madness will be the last one standing, and Slayer wants none of Tabby's smoke.
Woo, CB, that is one pretty shark. I gotta say, the Dance of the Butterflies, the communication coming up from UF White has looked exemplary. I've been such a big fan of both these teams thus far and how they communicate with one another. But with a minute left, it comes down to this. There's still time to play around, but you really can't bank on losing this next team fight, especially with Tabby hiding away, looking for a chance to go into the back line here, CB and Agamottoing it out.
And there's no strategist ult except for the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier from the bubble. Heaven's Retribution going to come out early. Are we going to be able to capitalize off this? The Mag Bubbles aren't enough to save Kiyoshi. The Eye of Agamotto, though, from Tabby finds 2, and Kiyoshi going to be rezzed, and Lander immediately back up to full strength. The BRB onto Slayer isn't going to be good enough because Slayer doesn't have the ultimate, so Lander just have to turn and burn here to force UF White back to the spawn door.
All right, 30 seconds left now. What is the play? UF White, they don't have a lot to hold out for. They're gonna have to push out now. Shiba's close to having their ultimates. In fact, most of UF White are. It's all gonna come down to the CYA from John Green to see how he can give himself the maximum push in. He's going in deep. He overextends. The bubble's on top, and there's the pulse cannon. It finds nothing. It's gonna be UF White aware of their tricks, but at the cost of what? It's the pace of Clintar.
Great defense there from Lander. The fact that they forced that fight so far forward that UF White have to use their ults just to try and break through them, and they can't get past the bouncer, they can't get back to the cart, and they can't complete the cap here. So despite UF White's heroics on the attack, despite their ability to use this Angela to great effect, it's just not enough for them to be able to break through past second point. That said, it's a win condition for either sides. Lander very well might have a hard time breaking through with this Iron Man if you're able to set up Shiba Chiba with the Hela. You can already see the gears turning. That was UF White's strategy. That's what they're going to be bringing to this defense. And we're even seeing Valfam now on the Namor. So we do get to see this team up.
I think it's the first time we call about it every time we cast, and now we get to see it. Not banned, not unplayed. We get to see the impact of what I think that has to be your favorite team up in this game.
Well, I mean, there's also my other favorite team up, the Rocket Network, with the newly buffed Penny Parker.
Oh, yes.
We're going to be seeing all of the healing webs coming out, and interesting mind placement coming out. Also, by the way, bit of a role swap here. Aim is something off of the Duelist and over onto the Vanguard. This tells me this is a pocket Penny pick. Again, this is a strategy. This is why they picked this map. And if that's to be believed, there's a strong chance UF White could get the full hold here.
Full anchor play coming out from UF White. They have to make this count. They were able to capture the first domination point, but they didn't find much lead time when it came to the convoy section of Clintar. It really comes down to aim something to find impact here. Luckily, though, KD...
I'm worried about how far Aim is something is played, though, because,
yeah?
I mean, you're going to have the Iron Man able to pump in a fair bit of damage. You can already see them pulling back. They know this strange TP is coming. Early BRB broken.
So bot can play. The original strat doesn't work anymore. Aim something will have to come up with a quick plan B, and like you mentioned, CB, as it was quiet in the Western Front, they had to have a major change, and they do. Valfam is the first to fall. So we're not going to see the impact on the Namor just yet. It's going to take a little while, but the healing webs of Penny Parker are going to make things a lot easier for UF White to have that stranglehold to play frontline continuously. Kyoshi's the next to the fall, and luckily the BRB is out. Lander can keep applying the pressure. They're building at their ultimates, surely. But even with that being said, though, the focus should be on KD. There's hit scan available from Shiba Chiba. But for this Penny Parker staying alive, that should be enough to keep things at bay.
Finally, the pressure, though, comes out. A Maelstrom and Manus to deal with Shiba Chiba, and we still don't have a BRB res for UF White. And now is the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier going to come out from the bubble? You can see the damage just coming through in spades. It's not enough for Aim is something to withstand. Is essentially just feeding ult charge to the Strategist right now, but Slayer's in no position to pop this invisible boundary, and KD Adroid gonna take him out. It's Spider time? Well, Spider time is canceled, so saith Tabby. Taking down Aim is something, and this will be Lander getting the first cap, and they don't even need to make it all the way through the second checkpoint to secure the dub here.
Hey, that's being generous, CB. Lander don't have far to go at all. If they can win the next ult dump, I think that's a clear path to victory for them to go 2-0.
And now you don't even have the opportunity to set up the Spider Nest for the Penny Parker, so now you just have to try and play defensively to where you can get somewhere where it might be useful, but it's not going to be enough. You already see KD Adroid in positions where he has access to the back line, and also going to get a BRB res burned out on both sides here. Now with the Goddess of Death coming out from Kiyoshi, UF White are already forced back.
There's so many places to go. How can the Penny fight impact? Already Armageddon has begun, and this is looking good. The invisible boundary is out. Plenty of strategist ultimates to lay the land. But even then, an Agamotto was out, countered completely. Tabby is like, I wanted to do that first. And we could see it here. UF White, they've already lost one of their strategists. Slayer has been able to remain effectively invisible in the back lines, but no one's been able to bring out their ultimates just yet. That's a CYA though from Lander's side. I'm waiting for that Agamotto to find its fruition, but with everyone disengaging on UF side, they're relegating distance away.
UF White did have the ultimates. They had the Goddess of Death. Chiba going for a very late one here. Going to get burned down very fast. Not going to be able to find the KOs off of that. And now is just stuck with only 32 HP on this angle. The BRB is active. Chiba does find the KO to make it worth it. And with the Horde of Proteus, UF White makes what might be their final stand. I have Agamotto gets pushed out, but KD Adroid finds 3, making a 4th coming out with Kiyoshi. And UF White have been completely shunted from this point as Lander continue their death march and continue on to match point.
Such a big fan of how, especially KD, he's such a flashy player on that Iron Man. It's hard not to highlight him. His way of playing the mid line, breaking apart the enemy mid line and back line side, ensuring that the duelists are not only not able to find any KOs against him, but I can only imagine the amount of frustration from UF Whiteside not able to convert out any damage whatsoever against an Iron Man when you are a hit scan.
I also want to correct myself. I just said match point. I believe this might actually be a best of 7 series, so it's not match point just yet. It's not actually all that dire for UF White, but it's still getting there. It's still kind of getting there because you've gone down 2 maps, and this was your map pick. And again, we started to see why they picked this one because the Hell and More is great here. I would also possibly have liked to see, a Hall of the Jalia pick come out from UF White, and I think it might have been a little bit stronger there, but nevertheless, the strategy was still sound. It's just Lander's team play was so smart from the get-go, using that strange TP to get access specifically to the BRB and break it. It means that UF White don't get that second chance, so when the KOs start to come in on both sides, and you don't have access to break Lander's BRB, they get a second life, you do not, and your life runs out quick.
Yeah, I don't like it when my life runs out quick. It oftentimes does run out pretty quick when I don't have access to any of Wetzel's meat sticks, so hopefully we can make that change come at a different time. But that being said, though, it's been 2 games so far, and I gotta say, Lander's looking pretty dang good. They have a solid team lineup. They have great comms. They've been able to have a fortified front line that's been effectively invincible outside of Warrior Falls all the way back at the very beginning of this broadcast. I don't know how you can break them apart at this point, CB.
I mean, UF White seemed to have some ideas, but those ideas so far have all faltered. Like the Penny pick, I think, wasn't terrible, but you can't carry it on to the second point. Once you even lose control of that choke point on first, once they use the strange CP behind it, you really can't do that pick anymore, especially against like an Iron Man and a Hela. Hela just able to fly onto these off angles and just pump in all of this damage for free. No shield to stop her, builds up to all these ultimates, and you're constantly subjected to the spam damage from the Iron Man from 1,000 different angles that you can't possibly predict, all while you're trying to deal with the enemy front line. You can't let the enemy vanguards have space. So it just stops working once the skybox is in play.
Well, speaking of predicting, CB, can you predict what the next map will be?
I hope it's Hell's Heaven. I know it's not Domination, but I hope it's Hell's Heaven.
All right, production. What is the next map? I don't know. Could be anything, really.
My real prediction is gonna be Yggdrasil.
Yeah, I see it as Yggdrasil too. We go back to basics. Oh, there it is.
Ooh, Spider Islands. All right. All
Ooh.
right.
Now, whose
Interesting
pick was
pick.
this? This was UF White's pick, right?
Yeah, they're getting on your good side today.
Okay,
We
okay.
dodged the Hell's Heaven. We get to go to Spider Islands. That's your Squirrel Girl map, and
Yeah.
they're playing. I mean, Lander's playing the Flying Squirrel Girl, as I like to call him, but still,
I'm really curious what the thought process for UF White going into this is. I think the true version of me, the truest. I don't know if that's how
the
you
truest.
say it. The most real version of me says it's probably just a comfort pick, but nerdy macro whatever side of me is also thinking, well, okay, we've seen UF White want to experiment with breaking apart again the back line, and that's been something very tough to do when you just have 2.5 vanguards on the front line playing goalie against everything you're throwing at them. You play Spider Islands, there's a lot of maneuverability on this convoy map that doesn't necessarily exist on others. I could see the return of that Psylocke. I could see the coming of fruition of, say, the Mr. Fantastic for that front line. But it didn't. The Psylocke didn't have the impact that I wanted it to have, CB. So I don't know if that risk is going to be taken.
I mean, it did have a fair bit of impact, but it was also just kind of negated by Lander's playmaking ability,
it looked
a large
cool,
part of which was
but...
it looked cool, and it also had some big flashy plays. And I think there's I would also like to see the Psylocke come to fruition, but every single time that Chiba is able to make a play with that hero, it's KD Adroit with the Iron Man that's making the slightly bigger play. And I think there comes a point where you kind of you have to address the elephant in the room, the elephant in the sky, the elephant that just hits you with his 5th unstoppable pulse cannon.
I mean, surely we see the Iron Man ban here, right? That he's just a symptom. He's not the cause. I imagine you ban the Iron Man, you go to, I don't know. I still think a crazy pick would be the Ultron. I think that could still work, but obviously that's not your first guarantee that you would want to go to. I could see a reality where maybe like a Human Torch, even if he's a little out of vogue right now, could be an opportunity. Really just any flyer will find impact.
I think Mantis Ultron triple strategist is not a bad way to go. Honestly, if you're trying to deal with.
You know what? This is my crackpot theory. This just came to my brain hole right now. The way KD likes to play isn't like a conventional Iron Man. You ban him out, I could honestly see a reality where he swaps the Star-Lord.
Could be. I mean, but like Star-Lord is a little bit more kind of like your Swiss Army knife kind of hero where he fits into like any sort of composition.
Yeah.
Works as a flyer, works as just kind of like a brawl hero, works well in dive compositions. Might even just kind of open the floodgates to a whole new world of compositions for Lander if you ban out the Iron Man. So maybe that's something that they're just waiting to happen. Maybe you ban the Iron Man, he swaps to Spider-Man. That's why we're seeing these Spider-Man first bans every time.
I don't think the Spider-Man would have the same impact though. At least that's what I would think. But I'm also imagining a world where UF White is probably just thinking, look, we don't need to ban the Iron Man. We know how to beat it. We have a way. We have a strategy. It's just to make it.
But you've tried twice now, and the strategy hasn't worked. Like,
I know.
Like at a certain point, you have to just be like, okay, this isn't working. We have to try and change the strategy. I mean, you can commit, you can double down, but you're running out of opportunities to make that adjustment. And the longer you kick the can down the road, the less chances you will have to try and make it stick. The more you risk getting swept in the series completely. And we're starting to get to that point here. Spider Islands, as UF White's map pick, has to be a breaking point for them. They have to try and get something happening here, because if not this, the map pool is going to be reopened. We can just go back to a domination, or we could just go back to another convergence map, and Lander can pick one that they're strong at.
So you're telling me you're gonna ban Iron Man if you were in their spot?
Honestly, I think I would. I think after 2 games of getting worked by the same hero, I think we have to try and we have to make an adjustment, unless we have a more fleshed out strategy that's showing signs of working, which we're just not seeing those signs. And there we go, right out the gate, first ban, Iron Man, boom. What I want to see is a little bit of trolling now from Lander. I want to see a Spider-Man protect just to really get in their heads.
Oh God. Okay, Hawkeye's out of the gates. We're not going to see him anymore. If we see the Spider-Man reserve, I've seen everything.
Oh, let's go! We're actually gonna get to see our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man today for the first time in what feels like forever.
I don't think I've ever casted a Spider-Man. He's just either banned or not here.
I legitimately forgot the name of his ultimate for a very good long while, because I was like, I'm never gonna need to know this.
Spider-Man.
No one plays.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, he's Spider-Man. It's spectacular spin, by the way.
Oh,
Just
yes.
if anyone is out there is curious, I know a lot of people don't actually know the names of some of these ultimates in the game, especially some of the more annoying ones. Spectacular spin.
Yeah,
is the name of the ultimate.
this game is the ultimate tongue twister test. Like you're saying 1,000 words a second, and then suddenly, blah, 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 it's Jeff. Like that's not grammatically correct. Marvel
It's
Rivals.
Jeff is such a hard one. It's such a hard one to cast because it's literally like, you're just identifying who it is. It's Jeff.
The prime meridian of my brain cracks in half when I have to think about saying that consciously, like 2 seconds ahead.
Well, moving on back down to the pick and ban phase as we have a Magneto Protect alongside Spider-Man. So probably still gonna play. I don't know if this is just all Vanguards are currently in mag jail kind of situation, or if it is just the style that Lander want to try and bring to the table.
I think it's just.
I'm curious to see how Peter Parker's gonna come into the fold here, though.
I think it's interesting that we've seen such a dominant play from Lander's Magneto. IDK, he's done well, but he's also playing not with his full potential either because there's no Gambit. The super swords aren't out.
Yeah, but he's still a very strong hero in general. Like, he got that update to where now his bubbles are on 2 separate cooldowns, so he can bubble himself and
That's right.
also a teammate. So you don't have to be as conservative with it. Like, he was already a very strong hero, but it's a rich get richer kind of situation.
I like this. Storm ban is the final
Ooh.
option. Lander.
Storm and Moon Knight bans. One of these two teams is definitely going to try and go for that triple spawn hold because they just took out the 2 most effective ways to break it.
Absolutely, and plus you get rid of the Iron Man, you get rid of the Storm. Those are the 2 best flyers in the game right now. Not a lot of options left for Lander here. Katie's gonna go for that Spider-Man, and we'll have to see if that triple does come to fruition too, Stevie. But Chiba now on the Black Panther, definitely better than the Psylocke here. It's way too open of a map to find effectiveness with her.
KD's over, hovering the Spider-Man as predicted. And I forgot. Why would we go to triple when we have a Spider-Man? That's definitely going to be. You use the protect on this, of course you're going to use it.
If we're talking about triples, that's the animal style.
I don't come from somewhere where there's an in and out, so it took me a second to get that. I'm an East Coaster, all right. I got Wawa. I got gobblers.
You get gobblers? I never
gobblers. Have you never had a gobbler?
No, I've never had a gobbler. We had Dunkin'.
A gobbler is a sandwich you can get at Wawa. It's essentially Thanksgiving leftovers on a hoagie.
So you're not.
So good.
There's no Wawa on the East Coast. We're talking Jersey and beyond.
There's a Wawa in New Jersey. I've
it's
been to a Wawa
Central,
in New Jersey.
but that's not New England.
Well, travel south, all right? That's exactly where Shiba Chiba is about to be headed if KDA Droid has what it takes. Not going to be able to finish his food there, though. Heads back to the rest of the team, and Shiba Chiba gets out alive. This is going to be an interesting composition for this Spider-Man to play into, because you have the other dive of the Black Panther, and then you also have aim as something who is, on the Mr. Fantastic, historically a pretty decent counter to this kind of playstyle, because Reed can just stand his ground, be that immovable object.
This is so dive heavy. Like you mentioned, we have Reed, we have Munchie too. Moon, excuse me, on the Venom. So it's gonna keep the Spider-Man consistently in check. There's no real clear way to take these ones and make a weaker team formation overall. Everyone on UF White's going to be playing essentially for themselves. The Emma's available as well to help out with the melees up close. I think the Spider-Man's hard countered.
It's Jeff coming out already from Slayer. Eternal Bond on the other side, and Slayer just waiting to try and get as much as he can. That is 3 people swallowed up, and no one gonna be able to stop this one. And Slayer just taking him for a ride off the map. How about a little dip in the ocean, my friend, as UF White will break this defense clean in half with just one Sharky Boy.
One Sharky Boy is all you need. Again, a lot of high-octane players on UF White's side. Each of these players and their ultimates. Okay. All right, man. Can do their own thing. But that's the strongest tool KD has against this composition. Everyone else either has.
Well, there's also the spectacular spin.
Sure.
That's a pretty strong tool as well. Taking down John Green with it in a swift uppercut.
Yes.
The backline is gone. You want to talk about strong tools?
Yeah. Okay. 2 options for KD Spider-Man. But otherwise, everyone in UF White are either very tanky or have crazy movement options. There isn't much KD can do elsewhere.
Lander are coming up on a wealth of ultimates here. They're going to have the invisible boundary. They're going to have an Eye of Agamotto if they want to use it offensively here. And UF White only realistically... Actually, no, they're coming up on a fair bit. Gonna have Bass Descent. Chiba could potentially use that to force out one of these strategist ultimates early on. Then maybe you go in with that Feast of the Abyss and maybe even double dip with the Sonic Seduction.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that here. Here, ult dumpage on top of the Brainiac bounce from Aim Something as well. Have to wait and see, though. Hard counter towards the back, torturing these poor little strategists. Unfortunately, I don't even think KD got a ping of damage.
Yeah, I mean, Observer doing KD a little bit dirty. I mean, that spectacular spin was something special. Fast Descent, though, from Chiba gonna find two early on here, and UF White seemingly have effectively broken this defense as that invisible boundary from the bubble came out way early, and KD didn't really get a whole lot done in the backline to make that worth it. So UF White are gonna be able to get the cap, and now KD is just kind of stuck behind enemy lines. Good uppercut, good movement there to get back with the rest of the team. But it's only going to be a regroup. It's not going to amount to a whole lot.
Yeah, it seems like either KD's playing for information to snipe out where Shiba's location is, or stalling for time and looking for the spectacular spin buildup, which 61% is going to be a decent ways from now. And that card's not showing any signs of slowing down. Gonna have to find a way to break this defense fairly early. Honestly, if I'm Lander, I'm thinking about that Namor pick now.
Feast of the Abyss does so much damage. Bathtub Toast, though, with the Eternal Bond, gonna be able to mitigate a fair bit of it. Invisible Boundary, and it's Jeff, and Slayer swallows up 3 again. 4 if you count the teammate, but that's gonna be spit out there. Bathtub Toast falls on one side, and Slayer cleans up the rest. Another successful win for UF White, and again, it's Slayer that ends up winning it for the team. You have to keep better track of these Jeff ultimates, and honestly, Lander don't really have a good way to shut it down. They've got the Meteor M, but that wasn't available for IDK how to play. He needs to start holding on to that specifically to try and shut down Slayer.
Yeah, and that's on paper too. It's so hard to hit a Jeff's little tail fin with the Meteor M, and debatably, if that's even worth it, depending on how many players he sucks up as well. Everyone on Lander are struggling. They haven't found the key to success just yet. These are two teams that have very rarely made any hero swaps mid-game. They've always stuck to their guns and their options, and UF White was the team that would switch to more. Agamotto is out. Spectacular Spin is back on the table. It's just a matter of KD can find the perfect opportunity to backline and use it. He's been spotted out. Chiba maybe aimed up and ready. Kiyoshi's good for 2. Is the Spectacular Spin worth it for the cleanup crew? I would argue not.
And especially when you have other ultimates on deck right now and UF White are on a full-fledged retreat. They're going to be coming back in with a fair bit of ultimates themselves. You know, Bass Descent, Brainiac Bounce, and the Sonic Seduction. You can combo any of those, but you have to worry about this invisible boundary from the bubble, and that's something that they just don't really have to contend with. So KD can just go in with this Spectacular Spin and force resources out of UF White, slow their approach here, and it looks like that's what he's trying to do. I don't know if he's trying to get a complete pull off the map there, or just be annoying and force an error out there. It's enough to take down the Venom.
Okay, it's a good enough poke from the Spidey. I see what his strategy is. He's trying to distract the strategists enough to force heals away from the front lines and weaken them, which is an optimal strategy, and it's working well. KD just needs to get something going, but when he does, it leads to a triple KO, or nearly so off of Valfam. But I don't know if that's the right solution for such a wide open area like B2 too.
Sonic Seduction gonna come out there from Valfam. KD again taking down John Green. As I said, coming out from Shiba, taking down the bubble, so we're fighting a lot on both sides. Some strategists being dispatched, but Bathtub Toast not gonna suffer that same fate. We saw KD going for a pull there on the Emma Frost there on Valfam, but it's not going to come to fruition. Nevertheless, though, Bathtub Toast off of that Eternal Bond, able to find the cleanup, and Lander are still standing their ground, and only 30 seconds left, and UF White have to make a play. I'm looking for Slayer to have that third big hero play on the Jeff, and you know what? So is IDK.
Yeah. Shiba's not playing anti anymore off the Black Panther. Instead, the Winter Soldier for the frontline control. Melt away IDK how to play. Get rid of the chance for a Meteor M or its effectiveness early. Ult up is out. Recovery mission is a go. Meteor M doesn't connect. My God, CB, it does. What a perfect snipe off the tail fin. It's gone. Ultimates are out. It's a Feast of the Abyss and a boundary that cannot be feasted upon. It is a meltdown of UF White again. And even though it's some distance,
I want to talk about a Gobbler that Feast of the Abyss gobbled up the entire team, and there's a fourth there. Tabby gonna be the next one to fall, and that's the Doctor Strange dead last in the fight, so you can't use that portal to try and get a recontest.
Is that a
so
capture?
Lander are gonna have a very scatter shot. It might be. You will have KD there to try and go for a contest. He is very slippery, but we're seeing UF White press the advantage. They don't want to let Lander get this touch. With only 3 meters to go. Spectacular spin, finding Slayer. That might be enough to get their foot back in the door.
All it takes is one ultimate to drive everyone off of the point, bring that 3 meters back home into P2, and we continue this game. We're still on Spider Islands for this side. Meltdown again. OT barely existent. Each of the players are gone, and my girl, the squirrel, was there to help be the final nail in the coffin for the attacking side.
I mean, I would argue that the Eye of Agamotto coming in there might have been the final nail in the coffin, but there was some big damage coming out from Doreen there. You did actually get to see your girl coming in on her best map, at least for the tail end of that there, but Spider Islands is the most apt name for this map right now, with KD being the star of the show. Whether he's being too annoying for the backline to be able to effectively heal up the front line, or just taking up so much of Slayer's time that he's not able to get as much of these heroic plays with the It's Jeff as we've seen. We saw 2 big ones come through for UF White, but outside of that, there wasn't really a whole lot that they could hang their hat on until it was too little, too late, and they couldn't pin down the very slippery composition on the retake there to confirm that capture. That said, though, a lot of carts on this map stall out in either first or second, and it was nearly a 2-point cap. That's where UF White on their defense will have the strongest opportunity to stand their ground and hold the cart off. So it is still winnable, albeit with a huge glaring asterisk.
Look, I've been pretty critical about KD's hero picks, and even though he is 18-0, this has been looking okay for the defensive Spider-Man. I will say, though, attacker Spidey on this map, if played well, and again, look at the 18-0, I think it's going pretty well, all things considered. I am very scared for UF White right now.
I think Chiba is also very scared for seeing the Wanda actually coming out. Scarlet Witch making her first appearance in NECC in quite some time, as far as I can tell. Another pretty solid counter pick to the Spider-Man, but this front line for UF White, it's so defensive. It's just trying to shut down KD. It's not going to have the opportunity to be proactive, but look at Lander pressing the advantage, taking as much ground as they can, going in, following KD every single time, and KD has already struck deep at the heart of UF White.
It's time for torture, and Spider-Man's the best at it. That's going to be the strategist gone of UF White within seconds of the round starting, having an ISO once again. KD, this is his time to strike. Tries to play deny off the health pack, but the Angela ignores it, chooses to run away, peel back, and join the team for a reset. And KD's on a scouting mission.
Tabby, I thought Tabby was... Oh, no, it's Valfam actually that's opening a portal, so there might be a strange TP coming out, but they're going to be walking right into a Squirrel Tsunami from Kiyoshi. The spam damage, you're able to build it up so fast. UF White actually opt not to use the portal. They're going to hoof it back to the point. That means they have to give up point A. This is going to have to be a 5.5-minute hold. 1 second. And with the Squirrel Tsunami evening the score up 2-2 in the KD feed, UF White aren't really that good for the defense here. They don't have what they need to stand their ground.
UF White's composition's very squishy too. They have 1 shield bearer and they have 1 tank of Vanguard in the sky. They're not going to be the ones protecting the rest of the squishies from the Squirrel Tsunami. There's a lot, at least spacing, that can be found off of Lander's side.
That spacing is going to be just space for KD to just walk right in, get his damage in there. Slayer with the It's Jeff only going to be able to swallow his own Doctor Strange there. Sorry, Doctor. I'll put you back on down. Eternal Bond now going to come out from Bathtub Toast. Kiyoshi taking down aim is something there. Shiba wants to try and hit the Reality Erasure to get some trades, but it's only going to find the Strange Shield on the other side. It's not going to be enough to stop the onslaught that is Lander University and UF White. Sure, they've got the ults. Sure, they have the defensive positioning, but right now, they've got nothing. They've got no Invisible Woman. Where'd you see her? Where'd she go?
Oh no, I still cannot see. Oh, she's in heaven with the angels, but not KD. He is still on the ground fighting the demons. And now, with an Agamotto, a Meteor M at play, all the pieces are setting up for the final push now from Lander to bring this back home. And they themselves could be 3-0 into this series. They're setting up for it. Spectacular spin as Al Radiant Bounce does lever the odds just a tiny bit. But the pseudo Vanguard can only be the pseudo for so very long. Aim Something is holding the line single-handedly, however.
We got 3 minutes and 40 seconds for this car to only barely inch forward a couple of more meters, and Lander have to be, UF White have to be perfect from here on out, and they broke the bank just to make that defense happen. One more Squirrel Tsunami from Lander, and it's over. So that's the ticking time bomb. A spectacular spin from KDA could be the death nail. This Eye of Agamotto from Tabby, we have seen it be the death nail several times. Maybe it's going to be that again. And for UF White, there's so many things you have to worry about. There's so many options. You don't even know what you have to do on the defense. All you know is you got to be perfect, and you got no more room for error.
Good. I don't like errors. I want perfect gameplay, and we could see that from Tabby. Oh, he's flying. He's gliding. It's an Agamotto from the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Spider-Man. He descends on down, goes for the isolation, plays with his teammates like a true Spidey should. And that's it. They're all gone. Lander have taken it 3-0.
Put some pep in my step.
And luckily, it is a best of 7, so we do have one more map. Yeah, they only need one more. We actually we confirmed this time. No more errant calls here from this amateur desk over here. We're professionals over here. We know exactly how much. Well, speaking of professionals, though, Lander look like it again. It's the team play. It's the Doctor Strange coming out. It's Tabby making some of these plays with that Vanguard line. It's KD, and whether it's the Iron Man or the Spider-Man, it's just dragging so much attention away from UF White. They're having to craft entire counter compositions just for KD's picks. That is the mark of a team that is completely lost and completely boomed. Lander have run circles around them, and now UF White only get one more map to try and find themselves.
It's hard for a best of 7, right? Because the gears were spinning for the first 2.5 or so matches, CV, but honestly, towards the end, having an Angela and a Mr. Fantastic against the Spider-Man composition, it makes me worried. There's not a solution to be found anymore. I honestly thought it was the Psylocke. I thought it would be the Punisher.
To their credit, I will say that you did see a lot less pop-offs from KD once the Scarlet Witch and the Mr. Fantastic swaps came out. That said, KD is not the only threat. You can try and counterpick one guy all day, but it's a 6 versus 6 games. There's 5 more people who are a constant threat, and we saw it in the stats as well. Kiyoshi on that Squirrel Girl. If your head is turned 180 degrees looking behind you trying to hunt down Peter Parker, you're not going to see the nuts flying your way at Mach speed.
Oh, I wouldn't want that to happen either, though. There's plenty of things that can fly you at Mach speed, though. Luckily, though, we have a small break, and it's enough time to go to a small little field trip over to Wenzel's and pick yourself up some amazing, delicious food from your favorite animals. And also, we have other sponsors to thank as well. By Blue Light and Extron have been so helpful for making NECC a possibility. Well, I'm hungry, CB, so we're going to take a small break, and I'm going to go devour an entire bovine. We'll be right back.
Just another one hit wonder, that's what everyone sees. Ain't it funny how you wanna be the best, but you can't even get up and get dressed? Wasted, face it, you're never gonna make it. Rockstar, you won't get far. And I know you're confused. People tell you you can be anything you wanna be. Wanna go to outer space, superhero in the streets. Oh man, what a lie, what a time to be alive. How have I survived? Life's a battlefield, 1974. Dead. loving before.
We're back a little bit early. It is match point. We just couldn't wait to get back into the action. He's gooey, I'm ooey, or the other way around. I often forget. Have you been waiting for the opportunity to be gooey in our little duo?
I'm just happy that you finally accepted that we are gooey and ooey.
You know what? At this point, it's undeniable. And you know what else is undeniable?
Yeah.
Lander's victory, as they are one map away. And I gotta be honest, unless UF White are in the business of pulling rabbits out of hats, I don't know if they got a way to stop it.
Well, I can imagine there's a lot of UF White enjoyers in chat or just watching the stream right now. Surely there must be a path to victory for them.
Well, that path is going to lead right through your favorite place in the world. It's happier than Disneyland. It's Hell's Heaven.
I mean, it's an equivalency.
It's an equivalency?
Yeah. Or,
Would you say it's an accurate one, a true one, or a false one?
sometimes it's hell and sometimes it's heaven, CB. I haven't seen
I think
heaven.
it might be, it could go either way for UF White. It could be hell, it could be heaven, it could be their final resting
could be
place. Either
Disneyland.
way, it could be I don't think it's gonna be Disneyland. It might feel like Disneyland for KD. No matter what he plays, it's not gonna be Spider-Man this time around. UF White had one taste of that and said no thanks. So probably gonna be Iron Man. Homie is going to be having he is going to feel like he is atop Space Mountain. I can tell you that much.
Yup. I don't know what UF White can do from here. They either ban the Spider-Man first or they ban the Iron Man first, and the other gets reserved. There's really no winning here.
I will say, you know, in the two maps where we did see Iron Man coming out from KD, Lander didn't protect it. It was just able to come through. They might need to use a protect on it this time around just to be extra safe, because UF White they're onto them now. All right, like they know they're gonna go for the rocket protect. Interesting. Okay, so now if you're UF White, if you're UF White, you probably want to go for a protect on. Okay, it's probably gonna be something dive, so you probably want to protect like an Emma or a Bucky. That's got to be your first opening move, and then you got to go for a ban on that Iron Man. You can't let him have his two favorite toys.
Okay, a protect on Hela. We've seen this before. I will say I think the Hela has worked decently well for UF White's side. I wouldn't say it's anything super, flashy or spectacular, but I think it is just a utility that works well.
There we go.
There's this banned out.
There we go.
So,
all right, so we're making KD dig just a little bit deeper into his bag of tricks to see what he pulls out. Jeff Ban gonna be coming out. That was Slayer's best play, making a hero on the other side. So this is just kind of like, this ban phase, it's just shots across the bow in both ways. It's just target ban after target ban.
Doctor Strange Reserve, I think that's a good safety for Lander. UF White, their protects could honestly be anything. I imagine it could be a Namor for the team up, or most likely a Winter Soldier.
I think the Winter Soldier is probably the safer bet. It's what UF White have gone for all too often, and it's had mixed results. Like, there have been a couple of big ultimates that end up coming out from the likes of Shiba Chiba, or from Kyoshi as well. I actually might be getting my teams mixed up on the names there. Nevertheless, I know UF White love to protect Winter Soldier, and that is a very smart one. Psylocke not likely to be banned, but I would like to see Psylocke coming out as well for the side of UF White. Groot ban is interesting. I think that's some forward scouting, because there was a Groot protect on Lander back on Burn T'Challa that didn't actually come out. We didn't actually see Groot come out, but this might be just kind of like a set strategy that they've like caught wind of.
I think this makes a lot more sense to ban it out here on Hell's Heaven than back in Burn T'Challa, because besides Warrior Falls, and even that I would argue is iffy at times, Hell's Heaven is a fantastic Groot map on every single point.
All right, well, as we now have our completed pick and ban phase, I think looking at it, UF White kind of got the best possible ban phase they could have, but it's also a very defensive one. So I have two questions. First is, what is KD going to play now that his two favorite toys are back in the toy box, at least for now? And the second question is, what is UF White's strategy going to be? What composition do they want to play, and what's available to them? We're getting the answer to one of those questions. Katie swapping over to the Namor for the Hella Namor team up. We talked about how we wanted to see it from UF White. Well, Lander about to show them how it's done.
Potential off-angling, a lot of backline destruction potential off of KD, throwing his spears backline. Horn of Proteus is also fantastic for breaking up the midline as well. I'm not... I always feel like I pick on KD. I'm like, I'm not sold on this hero, and then he pops off. I think this is good. I think this is good from Lander. No notes from me. UF White has...
KD is one of those players where it's like, it's a silly hero specialist. Like
you could bring out Default Man, and he would do it well.
Just a random, like create a hero.
Yeah, NPC, no powers at all, and would somehow find a way.
Tabby gonna find a way to the point, and it's going to be another strange TP. I like this play coming out already from KD. You talk about the flank angles and all the pressure. He's already leveraging it, and I don't know that UF White have caught onto it. They might hear his little bubbly footsteps up here, but they haven't fully scouted him out here. Probably gonna be a double Monstro drop, and then just a right click to delete a backliner here.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for the snipe. Shiba already has fallen. That's going to be the BRB expended. KD goes for one. John Green is down. BRB was already used before their KO, so we will not see the resurrect of the Invisible Woman. That's going to force all of UF White to go for an early peel.
Oh, aim getting taken down as well there. Lander, they know they've got the momentum in this whole series. They know they've got the points already. They know they've got this map in the bag if they just keep this momentum up. All they have to do is just keep this forward position, keep those tridents being lobbed down range, keep setting up Kyoshi to hit some of those early frags, burn the BRB early, and then just profit off the back of it. We can see the Angela off here on the flank here. Tabby trying to scout that one out. They can get some damage and force her back, but I mean, UF White still aren't able to get in the front door.
Look, if we talk about how great the backlining for KD has been, we need to see Moon Achebe do the same exact thing. You have the bulkiness of the Angela, you have a lot of environmental workings of Hell's Heaven to throw people off of cliffs, depending on what the environment looks like. This needs to be your time to combine the aspects of Angela and Moon Knight together for a team-wide combo, something that we've seen as a struggle for UF White. CYA is out on top of Moon Knight's ultimate, but again, we don't get to see much from the hands of Khonshu.
We do see Tabby getting taken down there, but BRB gonna bring him back into the fold, and as the map geometry shifts, Lander now have to take the fight onto the point here. What they wanted now. Goddess of Death gonna come out from Shiba Chiba, forcing out the Eternal Bond. You might still be able to burst some damage through, but you gotta burst through Tabby's shield first. He's forced to drop back down, and the damage raining out, but we can't find any KOs off the back of it. Now Lander have the ults online in order to clap back, and that's a big clap coming out as the Horn of Proteus, as Giganto himself just slaps right on top of UF White, sends them back to spawn 85% and counting, and UF White don't have any say in this fight. It's hardly a fight anymore. All the fight has been stomped out of them bit by Lander as they look flawless on Hell's Heaven. 96%. They are not going to be giving up this point. They are on map point, match point, series point, grand finals point. One capture point away.
Lander University, we weren't sure going into this if this would be a runaway success for one team or a very close affair. I gotta say, it's only 1 point away now, CB, from this being a runaway success for Lander University. UF White has had one major issue to solve from the very beginning, and this is their last chance to finally put the puzzle pieces together to see if they can counterplay KD.
But you want to talk about puzzle pieces, like Lander are fitting together so well. I mean, they go back to this, what we would probably call just a normal composition. KD is no longer on one of these silly heroes. He's just on the more, but still just as much of a threat, and is just enabling Kyoshi to get the damage as well. The front line, Tabby and IDK are playing so well together. The mag bubbles and the cloaks of levitation to get Tabby out of trouble every time there's an Angela kidnap. UF White are just not able to get anything for their money. They can't make anything stick because Lander University are one step ahead. The team play is just too damn good.
And of course, we're not saying that this is all the KD show either. Lander University, their strategist backline has had very little pressure the entirety of this set. Mune Achebe is bringing out the Angela yet again. This was the attempt to divide out the backline last round. Didn't work too well. Kyoshi has taken a wealth of damage, brings out Goddess of Death to try to mitigate for things, gets a triple right away. That is just Lander University doing Lander things.
This is where the Angela pick can start to pay off for UF White, but not if you're not able to get through that choke point. Now Lander University have full control of it yet again, and they only had to use the Goddess of Death in order to do it. UF White, they've got Heaven's Retribution, but again, like, you need to get through that choke point in order to be able to use that effectively. You don't have time to build up to anything because every single second is 1 second closer to victory for Lander University. They're close enough that they can smell it right now. Mutachebe can smell KD and wants to try and find this early KO, but you also have to worry about the BRB. The res is still active for Lander University. We might see Heaven's Retribution coming out here. We're in a position to use it. Mag Bubble and a Bird. We're not going to be able to find the environmental here. And UF White are just burning more time.
Okay, there we go. Agamotto is out. Heaven's Retribution possibly in return. The poke did not lead the taking down Magneto either. So many ults at once. Horn of Proteus is out, forcing it to the back line. At least now there's some stopping powers. Valve Fam, the other Namor, getting caught out by that ultimate, leading again to a cascade of destruction. It's UF White again to fall. And I gotta say, we focused on Mune Achebe for quite a while. Double pokes didn't connect. Heaven's Retribution not found. And no pressure against KD in what could have been a 1v1 against the Vanguard. Did not
feel
work.
Like we're a little hesitant to try and pop some of these ultimates for UF White because we're already bleeding out resources just to try and get in there. It's a high-risk ultimate from Tabby with that Eye of Agamotto, but doesn't get punished for it, even with that Heaven's Retribution, because UF White, they just don't believe in themselves. They don't believe that it's winnable, even under those circumstances. They need to try and find the early frag there. Well, now with Shiva Chiba finding that first KO, it's going to be rezzed up, but maybe, just maybe you can believe as the second KO comes through, but KD is here to make a believer out of you. Stomp out your beliefs and stomp out UF White's momentum. Takes down Shiba Chiba. Invisible boundary forced out, and a Meteor M trying to snuff out this ultimate, looking for the dunk, and he finds it.
Heaven's Retribution was down, and I don't know, does not care about Heaven. He belongs in hell. It's Tabby again to find two. A meltdown again. UF White, they're attempting to find some stranglehold, but it's lost as quick as it nearly began. And with that, overtime is gone. A clean sweep from Lander to crown themselves the Division 6 champions of NECC for the fall season.
And a clean sweep couldn't be more apt of a description, especially on Hell's Heaven, because even when it felt like UF White were making them bleed, making them work for it, Lander were still just top to bottom, especially in the team play department, that much better. Like you said, it wasn't the KD show all the time. I like to highlight the Vanguard play from IDK and Tabby and the way that these two work in sync. It's so good. The strategist ults for Lander are always at the right times, and crucially, they're not being shut down the way that UF White's ultimates are constantly, whether it was the pulse cannons, whether it was the Meteor M's. These high burst damage ultimates are constantly shutting down whatever Slayer and John Green wanted to do. There was that moment with those It's Jeffs from Slayer on the other side that nearly was a star-making performance, nearly brought UF White back, but it just wasn't enough, and when it really counted, IDK hit the dunk again. 14-2 for the Magneto, and that's not even the MVP. I think it already went away. I think it went to Tabby there. I wasn't actually sure who got the MVP there, but again, like, it just goes to show how good this team is as a team and how far they can go in this division. In fact, they've already gone all the way. They are your Division 6 East champions.
Yeah, look, you highlighted how great the Vanguards were in that last matchup. That means now we have highlighted every single role of Landor's team. They are a perfect ecosystem of finding the proper balance to check each other and make sure that they can find the maximum value out of each other's roles. KD, like you said, it wasn't just his show all the time, but he was the flashiest player and, frankly, the most fun to watch. I know for a fact that UF White can be at that level as well, but today was just not their day to do it.
I mean, runner-up is still nothing to sneeze at in any of these tournaments. And UF White, I kind of like poked a little bit to say like, hey, we got to see what brought you here. And to be honest, we did kind of see it even from map 1. We saw heroic plays from Slayer, like I already said. We also saw Chiba with some disgusting Punisher plays on Burn and T'Challa. But it's outside of these hero moments that UF White kind of falls short, and the team cohesion for Lander University just makes up all the difference. It feels so disingenuous to say team gap. Like, that's such a toxic thing to say, but that's kind of what it actually is, right? Like, no, it really, it's just one team was the better team on this day, and it was clearly Lander University. Despite the star-making performances from some of the members of UF White, despite the star power, the potential that a lot of these players have, you just can't beat a damn good team.
Yeah, that's right. And we always love damn good teams here at NECC, and I'm so glad throughout this season we've had not just one division of teams rising up to the occasion, but did you know, and again, this might be an unknown fact to everybody here, there are 6 divisions here in NECC with teams just like Lander.
And I bet those divisions are going to be filling up pretty fast, because this is only the first season for NECC Marvel
Really?
Rivals, and there's going to be a lot more colleges that are going to be looking to try and get in on this, I bet. And I bet the competition next time around is going to step up, but we are going to be stepping up the competition all the way up to Division 1 for our second matchup of the day. We're approaching on it. We're only about half an hour away from that one. I think
So we're going to film for half an hour, right?
Oh, yeah, no, we can just talk about, ooey gooey things, for about 30 minutes here.
I am more of an ooey enjoyer. I know some people like CB are gooey enjoyers.
I do like my things gooey. I like my action gooey. I like my Marvel Rivals action gooey, and I do like quick breaks while we go and get that matchup sorted for you. It's going to be Northwood versus North Georgia Blue. Don't go anywhere, chat. This one is going to be a barn burner. You don't want to miss it. We will see you on the other side of this break.
Baby, I just wanna be alone. I don't need your company, stop blowing up my phone. You don't get the things that I've been through, and I don't have the time to lay it all in front of you. And you think that you wanna save me. You don't know it, baby, why you do this? I got this under control. You think you do, but you really don't know that I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. No, I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. Baby, I just wanna be alone. I don't need your company, stop blowing up my phone. You don't get the things that I've been through, and I don't have the time to lay it all in front of you. And you think that you wanna save me. You don't know it, baby, why you do this? I got this under control. You think you do, but you really don't know that I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. explore. Imperfect visions like I've been here before. Falling faster, I try to ignore. I see you, I see you. I'll let you drag me to hell if you hold my hand. Tell me this is real and it will never end. This is not what I came here to find. Memories show that I'm out of time. See a shadow, don't know if it's mine, but I see you, I see you, I see you, I see I'll let you drag me to hell if you hold my hand. Tell me this is real and it will never end. Way too many faces in the crowd, but I think that I see you. One too many days got me changing up the way that I need you. Now we're both at a bar, acting like it's not hard, trying to feel something different. Talk to somebody new, kinda wish it was you, kinda numb to the feeling. Now that you're gone, they say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months and I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to. I can't seem to. Not that you're gone. I can't seem to. I can't seem to. Laying on my floor, thinking about all the things that we've been through. From 24/7 to pretending like I never met you. No, it's all for the best, cause I know we're a mess every time we're together. Going out of my mind, and I wish I could lie, tell you that it gets better. Now that you're gone, they say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months where I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to. I can't Always said don't suffer no fools. Serpents,
wish we stayed the same. I got way too many thoughts in my brain, but I got memories that run through my veins. I'm not one to blame, but I could point out every way that you changed. Some things stay up while others go right down the drain. And lately we've been going down in flames. But if I'm honest, I get my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in nirvana. But if I'm honest, I get my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in nirvana. But if I'm my therapist is saying that I should. I don't believe her, but I really wish I could. Instead, I guess I'll stay misunderstood. Oh, 'cause I'm stuck now, just trying to figure a way out. I've tried but can't seem to slow down, and I don't know if I want to. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in nirvana. But if I'm honest, I get my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in nirvana. But if I'm can't seem to slow down, and I don't know if I want to.
All I seek to find is a world that's mine. Need a place to hide. Will you free my mind? Following the light of a world that's blind. In your eyes I see there's a place for me. All I seek to find is a world that's mine. Need a place to hide. Will you free my mind? Following deal. This not right deal.
to you. I was going through hell and back, make my way into the dark. 'Cause I'm trying to get to you, yeah, I'm trying to get to you. I wanna get to you, 'cause I gotta get to you. I would climb 1,000 mountains, swim across the darkest ocean. 'Cause I'm trying to get to you, yeah, I'm trying to get to you. I wanna get to you, 'cause I gotta get to you.
It is the grandest of grand finals time. NECC playoffs comes to a head. Division 1 grand finals as Northwood University goes up against a plucky underdog in North Georgia Blue. I am CV and I am joined by Keg, and I am so excited to get it started with this one, and we are already ready to go.
I like that word, CB. Plucky. Plucky, plucky, plucky. It's going to be interesting to see how Northwood fares into things here. North Georgia is going to be the interesting team to go up against what is essentially an NECC juggernaut. I mean, with the likes of Logan, you have Fate, so many players that have had real MRC experience on this team as well. It's going to be pretty difficult for North Georgia to break into this.
Yeah, Northwood University are not just the best of the best in NECC, not just in Collegiate. They are the best of the best in Marvel Rivals Ignite, MRC, all across the pro scene. These are some of the best names, some of the highest caliber talent that we have seen anywhere in Marvel Rivals. And when we saw this roster coalesce, we saw them come together and we said, that's the team. Those are the guys. The championship is going to be theirs. Put money down on it, bet your bottom dollar. And now they are one step away from fulfilling that destiny and taking the crown that everybody knew was form fit to their skull from the moment they saw it.
Absolutely. Of course, we're saying a lot of praise for Northwood, but anything is still possible. North Georgia themselves, there's a reason why they're here. They've made it this far into NECC. They've been playing for months, as long as this Northwood squad has been around as well. And sure, maybe individuals here have been at the MRC, but North Georgia can be one of those teams to prove that this is still a team game, and having the better team and that cohesion could win it out.
And they have taken maps off of Northwood in the past. In fact, this is a rematch of our upper semifinals matchup where North Georgia Blue lost 3-1, but still taking that one map off of a team like Northwood University is a sign of weakness. It should be complete dominance and complete just trouncing of all of the enemies that step in their path for North Georgia or for Northwood. But North Georgia will not go down so easily. They will take their pound of flesh on the way down, and if they take too many pounds, they may be able to find something. That said, though, they've already lost a pound of their own, as since Northwood University, our upper semifinals winners, they're actually going to be starting this one off with a one map advantage in this best of 7 series. So at the most, we're going to see 6 maps today, unless we get a draw somehow, and we're going to have to see some real heroics coming up from North Georgia if that's going to be happening today.
Now, CB, I don't have the data in front of me, but I'd be very curious to see which mode that one map we saw North Georgia win off of Northwood be in the series. Could that have been a domination map? That would have been a huge boon on the side of North Georgia, had that been already the map that was won because of the upper semifinals. But enough about that, though. We know Northwood is up 1 now. We are into the picks and bans. Angela is gone. Punisher is gone as we head to Central Park. And with a rocket reserved and one more on the way, CB, things are already taking a spicy turn.
Yeah, the Angela ban and the Rocket Protect, I think, are both already keys right out of the gate. You know, you're taking away this really annoying, really angry dive kind of Vanguard hero in Angela that a lot of players like Vest and Spark Chief have figured out how to utilize, and Northwood have been able to enable this Angela to be a constant, ever-present threat. That's just, like, she's so hard to pin down. She's so hard to deal with. We're going to see the Hella Protect and an Amor ban on the other side. Northwood, I think what they want to do is play that aggressive dive, whether it's with or without the Angela. The Rocket enables that aggression, and the Captain America is the aggression.
Absolutely, Captain America for the dive there too. I can only imagine another Vanguard will be there as either a safety choice, say as a Magneto or a Doctor Strange, or maybe even an Emma for the best of both worlds. Could also be a double dive too. We'll have to wait and see what Northwood wants to choose once we get into the selection. But North Georgia has their last reserve, and that's a Storm. Storm and Hella, that could be good, but I wouldn't say it's the best option in the world for anti-dive.
It is a way that you can damage boost the Hella without having to dedicate a strategist to do it, so you don't have to force yourself into a triple strategist and get the Mantis. You can actually just use the Storm to try and bolster the Hella.
Gone.
Yeah, and the Punisher's gone as well, so there's a lot fewer things that can burn through that Omega Hurricane. We're also going to get the Mantis ban out of North Georgia, which I think is very, very interesting. I talked a little bit about how, you know, everyone's kind of brain broken by Gambit right now. In fact, we're going to see the Gambit ban coming out from Northwood. So many people are insta-banning the Gambit that I think people are forgetting about the Mantis, but North Georgia haven't forgotten about her and will be banning her outright. So the table is now set for technically our first map, possibly our second, but Central Park, I think, is kind of an oddball one for the Storm pick, though, because we usually see Storm to try and break spawn holds on Convoy. We don't often see it pay off on a map like Convergence. That said, there is a way forward for this Storm. You can use it to bait out strategist ults and just let your other duelist pop off, but the problem is your other duelist is going to be Hella. She doesn't really have an ultimate like a, you know, a Dance to the Butterfly or, you know, a Final Judgment or, you know, something that might kind of rely on there not being a strategist ult to stop it.
Looking at Northwood's composition right now, I wouldn't say there's a whole lot on the table here to destroy out North and North. That's going to be confusing. I'm just going to say Georgia.
And North. Shout out to Vince Staples.
But going for a triple right away at the very least, or it looks like maybe a double triple. You have yourself, no, I'm sorry, it is a triple. You have yourself a triple Vanguard and the triple strategist up against each other. It's going to be good, stalwart. Could be enough to nullify some of the aggressive potential of the Hella being damage boosted by the Storm. But that Storm has a lot of maneuverability. There's not a lot outside the Invisible Woman, and bar say maybe even the Emma Frost as well, that could have a chance to take down the Storm pick.
Overall, though, the composition from Northwood is quite bunkered down, and this is good for North Georgia if they can get a couple of these early, you know, bits of chunk damage in from the Storm and the damage boosted Hella. They might be able to force Northwood back. And you can already see Northwood giving a little bit of ground, trying to bait North Georgia Blue into some of those spider traps with all the mines laid out. Vest just saying, please step into my domain.
Yeah, domain expansion will be coming out soon. We have Life setting up for the Omega Hurricane at 60%. Looking for the prime time to activate it. Damage has already been brought out though. CYA applied now for Tricks, man. Invisible Boundary will soon come out, possibly after that ultimate has been expelled. That being said though, Sun has taken a wealth of damage. Heals should be out here though with the double strategist, and they eventually are, but distance has been made. It's still been a struggle for Northwood, though, to keep everyone at bay. Not a lot of eliminations have come through yet. Vest was the first to fall. Omega Hurricane in return off the hands of the Invisible Boundary. Will it be enough to convert for a KO? All signs almost pointed towards a yes, but just barely the Magneto almost escapes.
Some is going to be able to find the KO there onto Sean. That's absolutely massive, and the BRB has already been burned. Sonic Seduction now going to come out from Doc. Doc wants to try and force the advantage here. Already have Northwood back in this little cubby. They're just trying to support Vest while he runs around the point, being a nuisance. The contest is still there for Northwood. Meteor M coming out from Haven. That's just to try and save his life, as he doesn't have the HP to make it stick, and Some going to take him out. The trade out coming out, the Storm KO, but it's going to be rezzed up, and Some finds another one, and now it's 2 ticks on board for North Georgia Blue. Northwood only have a few scant seconds to try and deny that last one from coming out, and they're too little too late, even with the TP.
Too little too late for the portal. Still, no duelist has been brought out by Northwood just yet. Spark Chief is swapping over to the Venom pick for the dive capabilities. Could break up into the back line and torture the Storm just a tiny bit. We'll have to wait and see what kind of impact he can find. Some and Belice have been doing such a good job dividing out everybody on Northwood.
You can see why everybody is perma-banning Hela in ranked. I mean, now that Gambit has kind of taken the mantle as the most broken hero in the game, he's kind of, you know, taken the reins, but I mean, Hela, when you get someone good like Some who's just constantly able to hit those clicks, hit every single shot, it's just a constant tax on your health bar that you have no real way of making up. Sure, you can charge your strategist ults, but if you're losing bodies in the neutral, those strategist ults don't mean a damn thing.
Well, speaking of losing bodies, though, it's going to be a big push coming up from North Georgia Blue. There has been very little stopping power despite 3 Vanguards being available, or at least at one point were available. Haven finally swaps over to the Hela. This is the chance to bring it back. The problem is, though, you swap over to the Hela, there's 6 ultimates potentially against you. Spark Chief will have to find a way to proc them early.
North Georgia, they tempered their aggression there, though, off of that early pick off from Haven, and now we're going to have the Omega Hurricane and the Psionic Seduction. Invisible Boundaries coming out for the side of Northwood, but Fate is not inside it, and neither is Sean, and there's not going to be a BRB with the death of that Rocket Raccoon. That was a Category 5 Omega Hurricane, and Vest is going to be there when it makes landfall, and all the KOs going North Georgia's way off of just those ultimates. They should be able to cap point B here. I don't really see a way for Northwood to be able to get a contest here, so yeah, that's gonna be it.
Northwood is an esports dynasty college. They have been so good about getting the best of the best to represent them in a variety of different games. There's a reason why they were the upper side of the grand finals of Division 1, but right now they are struggling. They have yet to find an answer for this chaotic duelist duo.
Things are going to get a little bit more aggressive here. Spark Chief making the swap over onto the Captain America. Haven with an early frag there. Also has a beautiful angle right now. Getting checked currently by Vils. A res onto 9-9, but North Georgia Blue have effectively been stopped in their tracks now. And Haven, as long as he is up here, is just going to keep taking that tack. Just like we talked about, the Hela is going to be, it's going to be paying off for Northwood now. And they've actually got their feet underneath them. Nearly 5 ults coming online, and North Georgia now have to try and find a way to break through all of it.
It's a near direct funnel for both of these teams. There's not a lot of places to hide. Not to say it's impossible, but off-angling for some will be difficult to achieve. Villas as well will have to find a way to maneuver themselves as the Storm to find a way to get by and make sure they don't take the brunt of that damage. Ultimates are available though. Invisible Boundary for 9-9 could be good. Some though will be good for 1 as well off the hands of the Agamotto. A double KO. It just keeps trickling down. And with Northwood University, they had such a good stalwart defense at first CB, but it's been broken again by 1 ultimate.
I don't know where the BRB was, but that first KO did not get rezzed. And even if it did, Quad Squad going in with that Maelstrom of Madness and finding 2 more off of that Eye of Agamotto. Logan going to go in with that God of Mischief just to try and get a little bit of stall going as North Georgia are running out the clock here on Northwood. Invisible Boundary, so Northwood just have a safe space to play from. And Haven is making no safe space for Quad Squad there. Finds the headshot there. Psionic Seduction and an Omega Hurricane now from UNG. They want to try and make this offense stick. They want to try and win it here. Haven going to get rezzed up though, and with the spawn advantage, Northwood University seemingly not going away. The Freedom Charge now coming up from Spark Chief, and Haven finds 2, and North Georgia have been forced back despite that KO coming out onto Fate. There's not a whole lot that can make this offense work.
Forced for a reset now. The amount of damage from Northwood seemingly hasn't been enough until the Freedom Charge finally made its play. Spark Chief has gone through a litany of different heroes, made the most changes so far on this first half. Finally now the defensive Captain America could be the solution, but everyone else has to pick up their weight and follow up and help out the American man himself.
Where's Sean's BRB going to be, though? Because, I mean, Northwood, even though they got the spawn advantage, they do still need that extra life here if North Georgia Blue start popping ults here. Goddess of Death fight on both sides. We'll see whether Sum or Haven gets the better of this Hella exchange. It's been blow for blow, but I got to give the edge to Sum. And if Doc taking so much damage early on, Haven might have an opportunity. He sees it. He's going to pop that Goddess of Death, try and find the damage, but the Goddess of Death going to be burned down, and Sum makes the Goddess fall back down to earth.
Became immortal once more. Goddess of Death now available for some themselves. Where will the location be? What is the opportune time? How can you create that distance? Well, it's Sum's answer to find out. Now Meteor M is out to try to cancel out Sum's projectiles. The answer is no. Wait it out. A critical projectile brought out, but not enough to KO. Plenty of damage, though. Enough to put Northwood back. One body has already fallen. That's Haven yet again. Logan now with themselves. They have the God of Mischief. They could try to transform maybe into the invisible boundary. Could that have been enough?
And it's going to have to be enough for Northwood as they don't have any other ults on live, but there might be time for Fate to get that second invisible boundary. Omega Hurricane. Fate's got the ultimate now, though, so they might be able to live through this. That with the Freedom Charge, but Sean wasn't in it. The Maelstrom of Madness, and Haven and Sean both pop like zits, and Fate's invisible boundary is not going to be enough as North Georgia are looking to cap it out here, but Spark Chief and Vest, this FlyQuest tank duo, is going crazy, finding KOs to try and bail Northwood out of this one, and North Georgia, once again, have to retreat and try and go for one last attack, but they only have 20 seconds left to take it, and Doc gonna be dying late. It might need to be a strange TP from North Georgia if they want to touch it all, but Quad Squad making the swap over. Some has to try and hit the teleport. 6 seconds.
Squad's brought out Thing 2. This is a game for stall. They want to stay on point and they can't go much else. Vice realizes, okay, I cannot go for Storm. I have to be on the ground. I have to create diversions. I need to take and chip away damage as much as I can. Where is my dance of the butterflies? Meteor M, meatballs out. Nothing found in return. Spark Chief makes his way back though. Halfway to Freedom Charge. Not enough for OT. Could there be a stall? Could we see the ultim from these teams? Quad's close though. That's clobbering time, baby. Immediate proc. There it is. Agamotto on top. Not used in conjunction. It's used after. Goddess of Death driving them away. North Georgia had such a great first 2 points, and it's whipped away before they can get a third. It took a while, CB, and Northwood finally have seemingly found their footing.
But it's still a pretty solid attack, all things considered. Like, you got just shy of the full cap there, and it was some real heroics coming out from the likes of Logan with these God of Mischiefs to duplicate the invisible boundary. You force Northwood into a situation where they can't play aggressive, they have to play reactive. They're trying to play for these double defensive strategist ultimates, and it's forcing them to give a lot of ground when they don't have them available. Sure, when they have one or the other or both, they're able to actually draw that line in the sand and stay defensive, but when they don't, it's North Georgia Blue just constantly bullying them back.
Gotta give props to Georgia too. Northwood was caught off guard in that very first convergence point. Not expected damage amp off of Sum, and the amount of damage output from the Storm pick themselves off of Villas. I loved how they had played, but once we started seeing Storm get countered, we were in an environment where there wasn't as many places to hide. You had to fight a quite literal uphill battle. The Storm pick was not as effective as it was before.
For an uphill battle, though, Sum is a hell of a Sherpa. 18-5 with 13 final blows in the half, though. Outdoing Haven. I think a lot of it does come down to that first convergence point, like you mentioned, you know, trying to hold point A. Northwood got bullied back, and meanwhile, Sum was just kind of popping off, hitting all of the daggers.
I gotta say, I don't know how I feel about this North Georgia Blue defense, though. Triple Strategist has been good for a long time, but in the current meta, there's just a lot of aggressive options now to frontline break and even backline. Spark Chief.
It's a triple strategist comp, but it's not a utility strategist comp. But who needs utility when you just have raw fighting power, when you have Sum hitting the headshots on the most vulnerable target?
I gotta watch out for Spark Chief, though. I think he can break apart those strategists in the backline easily. That's gonna leave Quad and Doc on an island.
Have to see where Spark Chief is able to get in there. Does catch Sum out, though, but Sum has the support there. No KO gonna be coming as a result of that one, but big damage coming through, forcing 9-9 back, and North Georgia are all out of sorts right now. Spark Chief may not have found what he wanted, but he definitely caused a little bit of confusion here, and that's enough for Northwood to try and take a couple more meters, inching closer towards this point.
Hey, look, you're a Vanguard. It's not your job to confirm the KOs. You have to break up our teams and go for ISOs to allow your duelists to go for the KOs, and that's exactly what he's doing. This is such a great use
Oh,
of the
good
Captain
freeze.
America pick. But you're right, a fantastic freeze, slowing him down in his tracks. But where's the follow-up? Where's the confirm? How do you capitalize on such an isolation? You don't. Spark Chief is still in the back lines, destroying this animal.
He does manage to get Trixman, though. Logan with that Kraken impact, taking down 9-9, shutting down the potential for an invisible boundary. 93% as Logan finds a third. Again, one more. No, it's going to be some flying away to safety.
God.
But fly back to your team, my goddess, as you are dead yourself. We've got this strange TP now coming out from 9-9. The swap coming out. North Georgia Blue do have the ultimates to try and fight this one out. But Logan has Ratastern, and that is all he needs.
Yeah, Logan was not playing duelist in that first half, and it definitely shows that it's necessary for Northwood to find the explosiveness that we're used to. This is a very different game coming out now. We saw the Desperation Portal coming out against Northwood on that third cap, but unfortunately, it simply was not enough.
That vehicle to its destination.
North Georgia. Because they invested the strange TP, though, Doc is all by himself right now. Force this is to try and pull the Emma Frost in. They really want this. They're going
Oh my
in with
God.
that Freedom Charge as well. And now they're going to capitalize off that, not just with the KO, but they're going to take this all the way to North Georgia spawn point here. Even break the BRB. Logan again with more Rapid Thunder shots, taking down some. The Goddess of Death taken off the field, so North Georgia can't even bail themselves out of this one. This is going to be so much free card progress off of just a little bit of aggression from Northwood to capitalize on a misplay.
And there's no overtime for this map either. It was North Georgia Blue that seemed all but guaranteed, but they fell 1 meter short. All Northwood has to do is convert point number 1, and they could have maybe 5 minutes on the clock if they continue their aggressive prowess to have a chance to beat out North Georgia Blue's second point.
They know Spark Chief is here. They can't quite deal with him. The shots just to try and check him, but they know he is going to be an ever-present threat. Logan, still the threat in the front line, though. Invisible Boundary coming out from Faye. It's going to be mirrored by 9-9. Meteor M coming out from Vest, looking to try and shut this ultimate down, but the block is good, so Vest not going to find what he's looking for today. But North Georgia, they have to try and make this one stick now. Quad Squad taking down Haven, but it's going to get traded out. Hell is on both sides, now done, and Spark Chief says, now is my time to strike. With the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier from North Georgia, Trixman going to pay for the hubris to ever think that ultimate would be enough to save North Georgia. Goddess of Death now coming in from Haven, raining in the Hellfire from above like an AC 130, and that is going to lead Northwood into a point B cap. And remember, just like we said, it's not a full push for North Georgia. Northwood, if they complete the map, they win the map.
Hey, you say an AC 130? I call that freedom, baby! That's gonna be the duo between the two Hellas. A tale of two kitties, but even then some. He's forced practically in the spawn. There's almost nowhere to go. And we had seen the ult dump before from North Georgia Blue, but it did not find much value whatsoever. Very little stopping power. Priority number 1 needs to be to find a way to put this Captain America in check. And on this half, I don't think Spark Chief has been KO'd once. Freedom Charge is back out. The Storm, a Desperation pick again, is back out. But again, the entire team is firing against Spark Chief, and nothing seems to stick. No damage has been taken against them. Everyone in North Georgia 2 are tucking tail back to their spawn.
Oh no! The res beacon comes out. 9-9 respawning behind enemy lines. So much resources just to try and keep this invisible woman in the fight, but look at all of the car progress that's come through as a result. We're in one fight territory with 3.5 minutes. Fate really wants this one. Invisible Boundary gonna come out. Northwood, they can smell it, they can taste it, they know they've got this one, and Doc has to try and put a stop to it. The KO's now all coming out off the back of this Silent Seduction, and they have finally been able to put Northwood down, but for how long?
Not a 20-second timer like it was back in the first half. There's 3 minutes still left on the clock. No reason to go for a Doctor Strange portal just yet, though they could with 7 seconds to spare. Might not be worth the risk.
North Georgia, they're able to get out of that with, again, just that Sonic Seduction too. They're going to have ultimates for this one, and Invisible Boundary should at least bleed a healthy bit of this time bank off for Northwood. But Vess has been huge in the past with these Meteor M's. He's known as the Magneto. He hasn't been hitting what he needs to today, but if he can on this one, it might be enough to drive Northwood the rest of the way. North Georgia, though, they've got the tools to shut it down.
Kraken arm for Kraken impact. Logan, he's been so scary on Winter Soldier this entire half now. He's looking for a prime opportunity. Potentially that invisible boundary that is procced up for North Georgia Blue to go down first before he wants to use it. Doesn't want any counters against what could very well be the ace in the hole. But there we go. Diamond form out from the Emma. Enough to create some power lines. But this 9-9 ultimate may have just been the solution. Logan good for one. Brings out the Kraken impact. Brings it on forwards. Takes out anything in his path. That's quad gone.
North Georgia might have just run out of their last lease on life. Omega Hurricane gonna come out, but it's into an invisible boundary from Fate. Some tries to double dip on the damage with the Goddess of Death, but that's more just for that extra health bar than anything. But it'll happily take away Logan's health bar. That's what you need. Logan gonna get rezzed up though in Haven with the Goddess of Death ascending just a little bit higher. And there is no more time left for North Georgia to try and mount this defense here. The Strange TP just out of spawn for anything, but all they are going to find is Northwood standing tall and taking a 2-0 lead in this series.
You know, it's very revisionist to say that this was a very big powerhouse win from Northwood. It was a struggle for them in the beginning, but whether it was maybe a scrim comp, maybe not taking too seriously, a quirky composition to go for the triple in the beginning for their defense, Northwood recognized the error in their ways, put Logan back on his one true main, had Haven back onto the Hela, and suddenly things turned into a very different direction for North Georgia Blue.
And I mean, you know, Lord knows I'm a big simp for Spark Chief here, but I gotta say that the Captain America pick was the number one reason that Northwood were able to get as aggressive as they could. You had those moments like towards that tail end where you just kind of see Logan pumping in the Razastern shots. He's got the Kraken impact, but he's not using it. He's waiting for Spark Chief to call out that he's gone in and taken out that BRB. So he knows if he can get even one KO with that Kraken impact, they are not coming back from that, and that ends up being the kill shot. They just have to wait for Spark Chief to say, go.
Not only that, right? Comms aside, Spark Chief, at one point, with his Freedom Charge, in the very last possible spawn, as far back as you could push the enemy team in this game, was 1v6ing the entirety of North Georgia Blue in Grand Finals, Map 1. If that's not a tempo setter, if that's not a statement this team could make, and they've made plenty of statements already, I don't know what does.
Well, the statement that they have definitely made is that you can't just let Spark Chief roam around the map for free. Like, you have to try and keep him in check somehow, but the composition for North Georgia Blue just was not equipped to be able to do that. It's a very defensive composition, and if Spark Chief's able to just get back in and break your beacons every single time, as is his want, and there's nothing you can do to stop him, then you're not going to know, like, when, where, and how he's going to strike, and you don't get the opportunity to even figure out what hits you.
Again, the big mystery on the board is back in the semifinals. We had North Georgia Blue take one map off of Northwood. I don't know if that was a convergence, a convoy, or a domination map, but considering now we have a map lead for Northwood and they won the convergence here too, I think it's going to be a pretty tough sell for North Georgia to find a way to get back in to beat the double duelists and Spark Chief's Captain America. Spark Chief's Captain America is definitely going to be a problem. Asterisk.
A huge one, absolutely. But I think they still have the time to be able to do it, and they do have the capability to do it because, you know, it's a best of 7 series and Northwood only up 2-0, so you have 2 more maps that you can give, or rather, 1 more map that you can give to try and experiment. But if you do that, you have to go for a reverse sweep. We're already kind of seeing on this map what North Georgia Blue is capable of, what's gotten them this far, what's caused them to be able to, like you say, take these maps off of Northwood in the past. There is something here. They just have to put the pieces together. We have the next map ready to go. We know where it is going to be. And I think we might have skipped over Domination, so maybe we've skipped on Hell's Heaven. We're going straight on to Convoy. It's Midtown.
Yeah, so Domination would have been the first map. We go to Convergence afterwards. That was 3-2. Still relatively close on paper, and, you know, it was close to the first half-ish. Midtown, though, look, you know, if it's anything like the Convoy section of Central, I can't imagine we don't see the Captain America lock-in again from Spark Chief. I'd be banning that immediately.
I kind of want to agree, but I'm curious if North Georgia are going to fall into the trap of, you know, trying to ban for the triple spawn hold. Because Northwood did it on Convergence, it kind of shows, like, a willingness to try and reach for that whenever you feel like you want to just go for a full-fledged defensive composition. And of course, Convoy is where that happens more often than not. So maybe you try and ban for that, but that's a trap. A lot of pro teams don't like to go for that because, sure, like, eventually if you are good enough, eventually you will break that triple spawn hold, and then what? Most of these teams are going to be banning for point B, and that's where that Captain America ban does need to come through. But they also, again, have to go for the Angela ban, which is another thing that Spark Chief can play that you have to worry about, and arguably could be more annoying than the Cap.
Yeah, at least then you don't have to worry about the kidnap with Captain America necessarily. You just have to worry about pokes. Northwood opts to not go for a ban.
That's an ego. That's an ego play right there. They're like, no, we don't need to ban. Play whatever you want. We got this. All right.
There really wasn't anything to be like, that's a hard counter to us.
I mean, the closest thing was the Hello, with some on the Hello. I would argue that for the most part, some was getting the better of Hela in that head-to-head, or sorry, of Haven in that Hela head-to-head, but it was the rest of the team around Northwood that was just so difficult for some to be able to overcome. You know, you got to be greater than the sum of your parts.
That's right. Yeah, I see what you did there.
All
All right. I got my eye on you, CB.
And Northwood, I see what they've done. They have also banned out the Punisher for a lot of that front-loaded damage, and they have protected the Captain America, which I think we all knew was coming when we saw the failure to ban that one out coming out from North Georgia. So you are going to have to, once again, try and keep a leash on Spark Chief somehow.
Yeah, it's an interesting motive that we see from North Georgia Blue. They had the opportunity to ban out Captain America. They opted to go for the Invisible Woman. They're trying to hemorrhage the back lines. They do reserve the Hela.
A very transparent Hela Namor protect.
Yeah. I wonder what the strategy is. It's a mystery to every. I don't know. So we're definitely looking at a Cloak and Dagger. We're definitely going to be having, say, like a Loki here coming out from North Georgia Blue. The Gambit is available. That was the final ban from Northwood. I'm just going to assume that's going to be the last ban. So that's another pivotal strategist gone. North Georgia Blue's strategy is interesting, but that can come back to bite them too. They're not going to put as many chips in the strategist basket because they know Spark Chief is just going to poke the backline so much.
And like, as good as Namor is for, you know, being like this kind of counter dive hero, even with the Dirge, the team up there with the Hela, it's not really great for dealing with a Captain America, especially one like Spark Chief, who's not just he's not a grug brain Captain America. Like, he's not just going in with the fist flying, you know, using the vibranium shield till it breaks and like square it up for another round. Like, no, he's playing it really smart. He's trying to look for resources that he can break, aggro that he can draw, and get in and get out at the right time. And then, like I said, tell his team, all right, go. I've got 3 looking at me. Go. Start clicking heads. Now's the time.
Yeah, it's not the flashiest thing in the world to do, but the best way to play a Captain America is to not even fish for KOs. You want to break apart the healers, make sure they're not healing the team anymore, allow one less player to face into the front lines, and that's a chance for Northwood to use their duelists to break apart the front line and get that advantage.
Also, just want to highlight, we've been added by Prod here about these Gambit bans. By the way, Gambit is not allowed in this tournament at all.
Oh.
Northwood is literally only banning the Gambit so that they don't accidentally pick him and forfeit the map.
Sure. Okay. All right.
They are saying the only way you lose that we lose this map is if you we accidentally pick the best hero in the game.
That is some ego for sure, but honestly, Northwood, they're one of those teams where they can talk the talk and they can walk the walk. So we'll have to wait and see if it continues on forwards, though. Haven's
They
no
can talk the
longer
talk,
on a
they can
duelist.
walk the walk, and they can walk the dogs, as it would be.
And they got the bark with it. Let's see, though. Again, we're looking for triple once more. Logan now on to the low-key pick. We see that flexibility between strategist and duelist. And that's going to be the same for Haven as well. You have a lot of hit scan capabilities. Some on the Wolverine is the interesting pick. Surely he's designed to be the counter between either, well, the Captain America mostly, but he's not here.
He's still, like, we did see an early kidnap coming out from some with the use of the rocket pack earlier on, but we're going to have an It's Jeff duplicate, or sorry, an It's Jeff into a duplicate from Logan, who's already got that Fate of Both Worlds. Did 9-9 get enough? Not going to be able to get away with it. They're going to be forcefully spat out as Vest just chases him down and says, "What have you got in your mouth?"
Oh, Agamotto back out, though, and that's going to force a big pushback from Northwood. Peeling's going to be difficult in this choke point situation. They have a lot of room to get away with, but they don't want to get rid of their strategist capabilities just yet. Psionic Seduction brought up by Spark Chief. Not a lot of monstrous impact, but the goal here is to play for delay, not necessarily KOs.
Knockdock able to get 1 KO, though, onto Fate, though, and there's no res available from Northwood. Meteor M coming out, and a damage amp on the Meteor M, potentially. Spark Chief able to find some damage onto some, and a KO with the Carbon Crush. That's the way I want to go out. Haven still
same.
there with the extra damage, and Logan just kind of pumping in that damage as well.
Me?
What do you
Come
mean?
on.
What?
Psionic Seduction's right there.
You need me.
I know what I like.
Oh.
The RB burned early on for North
All right,
Georgia.
all right.
9-9's got another It's Jeff. We'll see if they try and go for another play with this, but Vest has been has been heads up with this one. Early KO onto Fate again.
Here we go. It's Jeff now, this time on the team with the OG Jeff. It's going to be good, though. Not a lot of environmental usage, though. Great delay. It's going to isolate Haven, but the freeze and return, great aim. Not going to be enough to hit the tail fins all the way into a KO, but it's still enough of a stall, and Haven's forced to lick their wounds and back away.
Last stand gonna come out there from some. Not gonna be enough to find a KO, but the claws are flying. Spark Chief is gonna put a stop to that one. Quad Squad trying to make something happen with this Eye of Agamotto, but the block is good, and Northwood able to stay in their ground. Vils able to take down Haven. That's a pretty huge KO, but it's gonna be res right back up, and Haven getting the immediate revenge, and Quad Squad trying to make him pay for it, but is gonna have to pay the iron price.
Oh, man, but look at those respawn timers out now. We do see the Storm. Once more, Quad back to the Magneto. Some is not able to have as much fun. He's forced to be in Winter Soldier jail, and I gotta say, it's been hard to get around one of those initial first choke points. It's gonna be a tough journey to get the P1.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time trying to make that Wolverine work, and now, like you said, I mean, some no longer having fun back in Winter Soldier jail. Hopefully can try and find something here, but there's nothing that you can really get with this bionic hook, so he's just trying to hope that the Rod of Stone damage is good enough, but it's not going to be. Doc with the Sonic Seduction to force positioning, but as soon as that expires, Vess is good with the Meteor M, raises up to the sky, collapse back down on 9-9. Some gets the res, but it doesn't matter because he's got no team to be rezzed back up with, and only 17 seconds left on the clock, and North Georgia Blue don't have a real good opportunity to get back in this one.
Desperately trying to maneuver around the Rubik's Cube, find the right way to get all the pieces together. Goal has been made, though. Quad, a desperation portal. It's a now or never moment. 2 seconds are left, and barely a touch has been made. Right outside the spawn, utilizing the heals, keeping the strategist safe. It is so close, so condensed, so clustered. There's nowhere to go. The hands of Khonshu raining down upon the payload, and don't find a single KO. It's somehow. It's Jeff once again. A grammatical nightmare may lead to some success for 9, but he's forced to spit out half of the team. He has to back away. The portal is gone. The overtime yellow bar descends down, and Logan once again melts down the entirety of North Georgia Blue, barely making a dent with that convoy.
And I gotta say, North Georgia are lucky that they were even able to get that strange TP off. There was a mag cannon that came out from Vest that nearly canceled the pentagram of Farala from coming through, but Trixman goes in and says, "Get down, Mr. President," and takes that one on the chin, so you can still get the teleport off. But despite that, despite the Kraken impact, despite the hand of Khonshu, despite all of the tools that North Georgia Blue brought through that teleporter, it just wasn't enough because Northwood understand the win conditions of this comp just so well. They understand how to play their lives. They understand exactly how thin they can stretch themselves out and how hard they can clap right back.
Watching to see the Pixen now. Very curious if it's going to maintain the triple-triple for Northwood, and the answer seems to be yes. Was not as impactful back on Central Park, but we're only just a few blocks away now, back to Midtown. A defensive storm. I had my skepticalness about it back on the first map. Did work out well with some, but now if we see Northwood hard targeting some, especially off the hands of a Mantis alongside Fate, I'm sorry, not even Fate. Let's say it's going to be Haven on the hit scan Luna. That's going to be a very scary notion to go up against.
I also do want to say that because Northwood aren't going for this Captain America composition, North Georgia, their Namor Protect is basically useless. Like, they haven't brought Namor out at all. Like, some gonna be back on the Hela, like we said, but we're not seeing Vils playing the Namor. It's the Storm. And Storm on the defense here isn't particularly great.
No.
You can still get some value out. You can still try and bleed out some of these strategist ultimates, but you need to try and find the KOs. And hey, you know, Storm is definitely not great when she's dead.
And hey, you do have the Sharknado ultimate as well, but you can't necessarily guarantee that it's going to find its effectiveness when you're up against two different Vanguards. But now Logan's back onto the Winter Soldier. I was so ready to say triple-triple, but he's back at it again. This has been a miracle maker for shredding the frontline damage and allowing the rest of the team to start to poke into the mid to back line. At least now it's
Jeff coming out early from 9-9.
Oh, but it doesn't catch Logan.
It caught someone. I'm not sure who it caught. Some is caught too, though. They gonna get rezzed up, though, but so much of Northwood has already been dealt with off just the back of a couple of shots there from some. I mean, almost. All right, listen, there's a glimmer of hope. Sure, there's 3 minutes. Sure, the cart can, like, Herbie is close enough to smell the box of victory, but there is a chance now for North Georgia. They've won a fight.
The margins now for North Georgia comes down to a single ult dump. If anyone gets KO'd on North Georgia between now and literally 2 minutes from now, it's going to be doomsday for map number 3. Omega Hurricane is out, no time for the It's Jeff follow-up with the Sharknado. It's going to be at least one KO from the hands of some, but there we go. That's what we want to see, man. That's North Georgia Blue finding critical impacts and KOs up against Northwood. The Vespa's back. He's got the meatball. The Meteor M is out, and Blyce is back in action after the storm, finding huge impacts on the Omega Hurricane.
They're setting themselves up for that inevitable ult dump. You use the Meteor M and you use the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier just to try and force a response out of the defensive side of North Georgia Blue, who don't have any more ground to give. So sure, you're gonna have an Eye of Agamotto, sure, you're gonna have a Goddess of Death, but you can negate one or both of those with Haven's ultimate. So Northwood now have a win condition now. They just have to keep an eye out on that It's Jeff. 9-9 has been building them up so fast. Sub is already dead.
Northwood's got to drain that timer. An Iron Fist is out, punching his way to victory. Agamotto in return, though, utilizing the chaos. Northwood Georgia Blue, I like their strategy. They're only a minute and a half left, much more attainable than the 3 minutes we originally remarked. But again, though, you have to worry about Logan. Fate now back onto a duelist, the Iron Fist, not long for this world if you play your cards right, and you do not. It's a royal flush, and I gotta say, we're flushing our way down the pipes to map number 4.
And match point now for Northwood University, if they have set themselves up for success in the easiest of fashions on Midtown. The map pick for North Georgia Blue did not at all go the way that I think they hoped it would. And it's because, again, of Spark Chief at the last second making the swap to good old Captain America. We didn't see it all map long, but he makes the swap and breaks the BRB again. And when you don't have as much ground to give as North Georgia, that is your only lifeline. Right? Because we see these ult dumps coming out. We see, like, okay, you have maybe one KO that you can give up. They lose some so early in that fight, and under ideal circumstances, you'd have the res, you'd put the beacon in a position where that Hella would be set up to, you know, set up a pinch angle, or at the very least, be alive. I know that's a very low bar to clear.
Oh,
maybe you're not able to set up the pinch or the crossfire.
That's what I've been doing
But you'd
wrong.
like to have your Hella alive. But if you don't have that and you're already down your hard carry, as it were, with the, you know, we're looking at the KDs here, 11-6 with the 6 final blows. That's your SVP for some. If he's not there to bolster your damage front when the ults start to pour in from Northwood, what are you going to do?
Now, my conspiracy theory, CB, I agree with you. Don't get me wrong. I think Spark Chief switched to the Captain America at the very end of that map just for the MVP.
I mean, I think he was already kind of making a strong case for the MVP just with
But
the
for the
Mantis play as
animation.
well. For the anime, you're right. He wanted to aura farm as the MVP. He's like, I already
Straight up
know.
rocking.
Like, he hit tab. He was like, I got the stats right now. I got an aura farm. All right, let me make the swap to Cap.
Oh, man. Well, look, our energy has been extrapolated by Northwood and North Georgia Blue. They've done such a great job. The only way I've been able to consistently get my energy up is to eat a lot more Wenzels. I mean, there's a reason why I haven't slept in 85 days. Since NECC begun, I've been on an all Wenzels diet, and I've been the most healthy specimen on planet Earth.
Debatable. But I guess if that's your only lifeline right now,
Debatable.
debatable about you being, if you haven't slept for 85 days, that doesn't sound healthy at all.
It's always
you know,
healthy
maybe-
when it's Wenzel. Look, I
We're
am
go-
practically a cow itself. I am feeling good, but I think it's time to eat some more Wenzel. So, do we do it on camera?
We'll throw it to a quick break and let you
No!
maybe either eat your Wenzels or get a quick, like, 5-minute nap, but you definitely don't want to sleep too long. Make sure you set your alarm because we've got potentially only one map left in this series,
They
and
must
you
watch
do
my
not want to miss
Wenzel.
it.
We're supposed to throw to a break, right? Hello?
Yeah, we're throwing a break.
Goodbye.
All that was promised for Northwood University is only one single step away. I said they're one step away from destiny, and that has only gotten more true as they are one map away from winning the Division 1 NECC fall season and being crowned champions. And I bet they're going to celebrate the same way that you celebrated during the break.
Oh yeah, how was that?
With some Wenzels, of course. Your favorite snack that's made you the specimen of health. Your doctor loves you.
Absolutely. I'm practically Adam Warlock himself. I'm gonna do a karmic revival on you, CB. Ready?
I'm not dead. You're just wasting your ultimate.
You're Wenzelus. You are dead.
Only on the inside.
There you go. Now you're alive. You're fully with us. You know, you've always been fully with us. I'm sorry. You're at 200 300% now.
I'm 300% with you. And
Yes.
I am 300% here for what could potentially be this last map. And of course, we're going to end things on your favorite map. We're going to
Well,
Hell's Heaven.
No grand finals is perfect, CB. It's understandable.
No. Well, I would call this about as perfect as you can get, especially if you're a Northwood fan. If you're North
That's
Georgia, it's far from it, and this is, I would say, far from the most wise map pick. Even though it's not something that one that you're a particular fan of, I still kind of think that it's one that lends itself very well to the exact type of shenanigans that Northwood have been getting up to all
Yeah.
series long. Spark Chief on the Captain America. If you ban out the Cap, you're going to have to deal with the Angela, and Angela is also great on this map. It's also really strong for a good old front-to-back playstyle, so you can just set Logan up to play the Winter Soldier, and he'll just continue to fry with it. So I feel like if you're trying to set your team up for success, this might have been a misstep, and crucially, their last one.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, CB. And honestly speaking, from the strategies we've seen so far coming out from North Georgia, they've looked great as a team if they weren't going up against Northwood. I honestly don't know what their strategy is going to be going into this.
This is a team that could beat any other team in this tournament, just probably not this one.
The Storm
Unless,
Hella has looked good. I don't think it's going to be good for Hell's Heaven.
I do think that you need to make this into Hella's Heaven. You need to have some pop off on the Hella like he has been all series long, but you also need a little bit more than that. You need to have something else besides just one single pop off performance. You need to have your entire team have a singular strategy that's coherent and that will best Northwood. We're gonna see a Punisher ban coming through again. That's just taking away some of the easy heroes. Invisible Woman Protect. Okay, so we saw in the chat earlier, by the way, Fate saying, ban my invis, face my thing, which is why we saw Fate on the thing. Now he's going to get to play invis, so gets to actually have a good time.
Nice. So we won't be seeing Thing, unfortunately. I will say, though, the very early composition we saw back on Midtown was, I think, a good strategy to bring over into Hell's Heaven, too. I believe it was one of the players, I think it was Some, on the Wolverine / Black Panther very, very briefly. Just being able to off-angle and take kidnaps off into the back lines, again, I think is going to be the winning strategy here. What defines most of these teams, CB, has been fantastic vanguards, including the Magnetos.
I do think, though, that, that's not a bad strategy. You're right, to open up with something like the Wolverine. And I do also kind of think, though, that all you're realistically going to be doing is forcing Northwood into playing the composition that they want to be playing anyway, which is Captain America, which is why they once again protected it, so Spark Chief is going to be able to wreak havoc on the backline. The Rocket ban for North Georgia is smart. That is going to make it so that the BRBs are no longer a factor, and there's not really as much reason for Spark Chief to try and play the Captain America in lieu of something like maybe the Venom, or just try and go for the front-to-back style. He can still get away with it. Cap is still very, very strong, but at very least it makes it a little bit less of an imperative to play him.
Well, I'm thinking we've seen good alternatives too. Logan's straight away going to go for the Winter Soldier, so I think that takes care of the Mantis and or the Loki. I was thinking of him potentially bringing out the Subsidize alongside Spark Chief. Shown, though not on the Rocket, has been fantastic on the Jeff. Fate
don't do it
right now.
Don't do it.
I was gonna say, hey, I think the Gambit's a good option here. But it's a little too good right now.
And we're gonna play the other S tier strategist right now, the Invisible Woman, the one that we protected specifically so we didn't have to face Fate's thing.
Do like Vilsto on the Psylocke here. It's not quite the Black Panther or the Wolverine I was expecting, but again, an off-angler like this where you're not just butting heads on two different frontline teams has to be the move. Some realizes that he won't be getting the help from the amp up off of Storm anymore, so the Hawkeye will be the replacement. Honestly speaking, for North Georgia in the situation they're in, CB, I think this might be the best case scenario comp they can get.
I'm curious, though, if the penny is going to stay, though, because it's going to be, I mean, like, it might be a good deterrent for Smart Chief on the Captain America, but
that's the question mark.
But it's another one of those things, right, where you're playing reactive. You're forced into not being able to set the tempo. But here's a very proactive play coming out from Quad Squad with that that teleport coming out, and Vils is there with an early KO onto Logan. Remember, no rocket means no res, as that KO is permanent. North Georgia should be able to get some ground off of this. But nevertheless, the last remnants, the denizens of Northwood, have already tried to stake their claim on the point, and now Doc with a swap over onto the Cap is going to try and punish them for it.
Cap v Cap, some not on the Hela anymore. It's going to be the not on the Hawkeye anymore. In fact, the Hela, I'm a little sad we're not seeing Hawkeye anymore, but you definitely need a faster output than what Hawkeye is able to provide. Haven and Logan, though, a meltdown again. It's everyone gone. A complete team wipe for Northwood. North Georgia Blue, you're in the graveyard.
You want to talk about a fast output, it doesn't get much faster than that. All right, just a few swift head clicks and it's over, and Haven just puts that entire fight to bed alongside that follow-up damage from Spark Chief. And you definitely don't want to be going off against Spark Chief in a Captain America head-to-head, because he will get the better of you, potentially the best Cap in North America. And Doc, I don't know if you're making a strong case for second, but hey, that's a good way to start. Taking down Sean on the Jeff, though. Getting an early advantage, Bacon to pop that invisible bounty to try and make up for the loss in manpower and deter North Georgia, and they've done enough. Haven once again, just clicking heads.
And again, now that you have Doc poking the back lines, Feint has not been hurt whatsoever by this poke either. It's going to be the Jeff that wasn't facing too much. Sean's going to swap back over to Luna, has more escape opportunities against the Cap, but now the front line has a weaker output. Quad does have Agamotto available, 9-9 same. They have the Fate of Both Worlds that can definitely find some extra distance back in. But at 50% now, halfway there, Northwood only needs to get 50 more, and they'll be good for one more point away from crowning themselves the Division 1 champions.
And Northwood have already pressed the line of scrimmage so far up that North Georgia have to use some ultimates just to try and be able to cross it. Vils has to be on the lookout for Logan's bionic hooks. Already got caught by it once and narrowly lived to tell the tale. Eternal Bond now going to come up from Trixman, and we're going to have that Dance of the Butterfly, but the patty caking is so good that the dance is not finding anything. I have Agamotto. North Georgia are spending so much to try and make this worth their while. Now, the Maelstrom of Madness, they may have done just that, as Quad Squad is there to bail them out. North Georgia Blue still taking heavy losses, a lot of low health bars, but if they're able to stabilize, they might be able to find the flip. They just got to deal with Spark Chief and that pesky shield.
Remember, Spark Chief's been able to survive a 1v6 with this meltdown. Can he make it work? He is losing the 1v1. Finally enough time for the stagger. He's getting the heals back. He's effectively invincible again. But where's the support for Doc? Look at that HP. He's forced to peel back completely and get the help he needs. But at least now we see Fate of Both Worlds. It's a chance to keep Northwood in line, but it wasn't enough to cap until the points keep going up. Northwood, they just have to get rid of 2. Is this the time to cap? Spark Chief has to say no. He gets back in. Last second denial. Doc's good for 1. Haven is gone. But Logan's still around. 76%. Could get the Kraken impact any moment now. Spark Chief's in the back, ensuring nobody gets heals. Veswa, Logan, ready for this moment. They're having the time of their lives, but some stays alive, and he's good for a few. And finally now we have a cap.
But Spark Chief just does so much on the Captain America. He wastes so much of North Georgia's time that they have to invest so much. The Freedom Charge from Doc just to try and secure the fight, and even then, it's not enough because the respawns come back. The ults come back online, and Northwood can try and force more resources out of Georgia. So even when North Georgia win the fight, they still lose it. Look at the ults coming online for Northwood University. They've got 3 big win conditions, and all they got to do is shut down 1 Eternal Bond, and they are halfway home on this map. Doc falling early. Now they don't even got to worry about it. They've already got a man advantage. All they got to do is press it.
I think we're going to see a panic Eternal Bond coming out from Trix. Dance of the Butterflies finally out now. Driving back Northwood. Eternal Bond right after. That's the go button for Northwood. They're happy to see an enemy Cloak and Dagger ultimate. Meteorum doesn't find much though. Rare whiff, a shield connect from Veswa. Not what you want to see. Even the Kraken impact off of Logan should have been the ace in the hole. And nothing was found.
Oh, Quad Squad able to find Spark Chief, that Maelstrom and Madness there. Northwood University, that's their fastest hero. They have to try and temper their aggression now while their IGL gets back into the fight here. Haven trying to take this duel off on the side to force some away. Hulk swap, interesting. All right, Spark Chief gonna try something new. We haven't seen Bruce Banner in quite some time, and we're gonna finally get to see him rear his ugly head, but so too is some with that Goddess of Death raining in the damage. And Northwood, they know they can't just walk right into it. Even with Spark Chief there to absorb the bulk of it, it's still just buying more time. And at 80%, it's one fight territory now for North Georgia, and they do have the win conditions, but they ain't gonna have Doc.
Gotta say, Doc has been making a good case for himself right now on that Captain America pick. Unfortunately, he does fall. Agamotto, though, fate of both worlds at the same exact time. Spark Chief, he tried to initiate the fight off of his exile, but no follow-through came by. Instead, no meltdown again. Second crack and impact. What can you find? Where are the targets? You're out of here, Quad Squad. It's going to be the meltdown again. Surely no way to bring it back now. Timers on some. Did not get to see. No chance for a portal, question mark. Surely not. Instead, it's Doc, the Lone Ranger, America himself, fighting alone on the front lines, forced to dial back. Portal is out, helping his friends into the fray. Ho, dance, butterfly, dance off, baby! Who can win? Who will lose? Sean out last place, and they fall. It's gonna be Northwood again, a near clean sweep. Doc, the last to go under, and that's only point one. But now Northwood only needs one more, again, to crown themselves champions.
It was so close, though. There is a world where if that Dance of the Butterfly gets even a single KO, North would end up losing that fight and losing that point. But it may be that Doc has kind of hoisted North Georgia Blue by their own petard now, using that Freedom Charge to try and buy in. It's an all-or-nothing gambit to try and win that point, and it does buy enough time for the teleport to come out and the rest of the ults to come down. But all it really means is that North Georgia are now investing all they have into a losing fight, and now they have nothing, and Northwood have their Vanguard ultimates. They've got Hulk Smash, they've got Meteor M. Either one of those could be used to A, shut down Trixman's Eternal Bond, or B, just to win the fight outright.
It really comes down to how fast Trixman wants to bring out the Eternal Bond. We had seen it used before as the position for Logan and company to proc out their ultimates. But even when that was the strat in mind, Northwood wasn't able to find many KO opportunities off of it. But it did waste the ultimates, and that was the important thing for the team. I'm hoping, I'm praying to whatever deities in the sky that we don't see Trix start off immediately with Assault.
Maybe you do want to just go aggressively with it, or maybe you just try and play this a little bit more slowly. I think if you're North Georgia, you want to try and play it more slowly. Give the opportunity for some to find a pick on this Hawkeye, and he does just that. Gives his life to do it, but he has managed to take down Haven, so the hit scans on both sides have been dealt with. But Doc goes too aggressive and gets caught up by Spark Chief, and that's going to force the Eternal Bond. Vess is there with the Meteor M, looking to find the pancake on the Trixman, but it's not going to be there. Meteor M, now wasted. Have to use that invisible boundary to try and keep yourselves in the fight, but you still have the mana advantage. Remember, Doc is only just now coming back in. Eye of Agamotto gets hit with the Force Physics. Fate is so good on the Invis Woman, has the perfect timing, and Quad Squad, the hero plays that keep coming out from the Doctor Strange, are not coming out today. There may be no heroes left in Georgia.
Oh, it is a meat grinder, CB, and I don't know what animals are in it. Fate was the next to fall. Sean, though, was good to survive. The rest of North Georgia Blue, they're looking to make their next push back in. They were only able to cap point one towards the very end. Someone the Hawkeye trying to play the aim game against an invisible component, and even then Blyce was there to find the ender. It's gonna be Haven again. Things are looking good though. Spark Chief soon to have Monster Hulk, Omega Hurricane underway. That's gonna be another strategist gone. But a consistent flip-flop for Northwood. They can't rely on the double strategist heals all the time. North Georgia Blue have been good for the poke.
But North Georgia, they use so much to try and make that one happen. Omega Hurricane. The Fate of Both Worlds from 9-9 gets forced out super early, and they know that when that is gone, they have to try and invest further, so some pops the ultimate as well, and sure, they get the value, sure, they get the flip, and relatively early too, but now they only have the Freedom Charge and potentially the Eternal Bond. They have to use these to just try and elongate the fight and make sure that they're able to live through it.
Freedom Charge, and as a panic button, Haven can go for Dance of the Butterflies if anyone gets too close. Double Freedom Charge, at least for one. That's Doc. Can he bring it out and find any impact? The answer is no. It's about survivability. No Omega Hurricane, not for a while. That's the storm gone, and we see the monster match, baby! Stop again. No Eternal Bond. You can bring out the damage, but it's been shut down completely. This Hulk is a battle tank, and what do you do when you bring a knife to a tank fight? You get Northwood University.
Well, you do also match Northwood's progress and in fact surpass it. 52% for North Georgia is not terrible. Oh my god,
Good
what
Lord.
a headshot. That is the most impactful headshot you could have possibly gotten. And now for North Georgia, they have a way in, but you can already see the posturing from some. They know now that this teleporter is coming out because they didn't see the Hawkeye immediately press the advantage. So they just pop a quick U-turn and they're ready to take the fight. But now with the ultimate and the invisible boundary, some able to find the KO through it. This is the hero that North Georgia need.
Absolutely. Some has been sleeping on the Hawkeye up until this map. We've been seeing a little bit of hype, but mostly just the Hella. This is the impactful damage that's necessary when you have Vanguard charging directly into your face. And even then, it's the dance of the butterflies. It's going to be the Psylocke, not to be long for this world. It could be an entry point now, off the hands of Fate of Both Worlds. There is no Meteor M for North Georgia Blue to use. In fact, there are no ultimates that I can see that can shut down this healing ult.
All North Georgia have to do is go in with the Omega Hurricane, force out this Fate of Both Worlds, and then go on in with that Eye of Agamotto, and then let some just click heads. It's that easy. We'll see if that's the plan for North Georgia Blue, or if they've got something better to go. You can already see Northwood. They are waiting. They're trying to play Sean safe. They know this ultimate is their lifeline, and they have to try and play off of it. Some takes down Fate, though, so now Sean's healing is load-bearing.
All right, we've hit essentially OT for both of these 2 points. Go Bun has been abound. Agamotto most impactful and directly on top. The victims are in the eye of the Hurricane. It's gonna be Eternal Bond on top, making sure no trades could happen in that impactful ult cycle. Fate goes for the emergency portal. Too little, not too late. Through the portal, though, at a very awkward angle. Maybe enough to help for a small capture. Blyce, though, takes down Haven. Not what you want when you're fighting for your life, not to go to P3. And again, though, if this is a recapture, Northwood University have to just play defense. And then they can crown themselves champions. Some again, meltdown. The Hawkeye could have finally been the answer.
We're finally seeing signs of life from North Georgia, signs that we haven't seen since Central Park, and signs that we're going to need to see from here on out. They have bought themselves at the very least a win condition here. They don't overinvest in that last fight either. They're able to carry on the Fate of Both Worlds and the Freedom Charge, 2 very strong stagger ultimates, and Northwood don't have a damn thing to their name. Their closest is going to be Vess with that Meteor M. Sure, maybe you shut down the Strategist ult with it, but you can't really deal with the aggression that Doc is going to be able to provide here. So all North Georgia have to do is get the first cap and make the fight take as long as possible. And if they can keep the ult advantage throughout it and go through their ult rotations perfectly, they should be able to get through this.
I mean, we've talked about how impactful Spark Chief is on the Captain America, but a case now needs to be made for Doc and what you can do to stop him from hurting the back line quite a bit. I do like some on the Hawkeye now. This was such a great way to negate out the impactful damage of Logan and Veswa, but there needs to be an answer now for Doc.
See what the answer is. Spark Chief actually going to swap over onto the Venom, so a different flavor of dive coming out from Northwood. Are North Georgia going to be able to tango with this? There's a nice headshot there from Some. Basically, Thanos snaps Spark Chief's health bar in half. Spark Chief grabbing the health pack and going for the dive in there. Wants to try and take his revenge, and Vess is there with the Iron Volley to take him out. Doc popping that Freedom Charge. Now North Georgia, they have to pop these ultimates. This isn't on their terms. They need to make a play now, knowing they're down a man. But Vess is going to be the playmaker with the Meteor M and slams it right in 9-9's face.
Absolutely what you want to see. You took down 2 power players. That's the Luna Snow. The Storm are gone, and you get yourself some extra credit. Could that be the Cloak and Dagger on top? Yes, it is. And the sooner you force out the Hawkeye to take a fight closer to their own spawn, the harder it will be to take that entry point back in from them. It's a game of stall now. 14%. Northwood won the initial fight every single point thus far, but they lost it on point 2, and they cannot do that again.
Invisible boundary early on from Fate. 9-9 wants to mirror that. There's no Meteor M to shut either of these ultimates down. Hawkeye ult coming out again from Some. Eye of Agamotto as well. North Georgia, they really want this one, and they are going to find the KOs to do it. Spark Chief is going to be there with the stall, but not even able to hit the ground before Some puts him in the dirt, and now Haven getting staggered out there. Just going to, do a little shift off the map there. Easy peasy there. Fate with a nice little force physics KO onto Doc Doc. Doc Doc should be back relatively quickly because he's on the Captain America, but still, you're not going to be able to press your advantage now, so Northwood can just walk right back in the front door and take the fight on the point.
Kraken Impact is soon to be ready for Logan. Sun has been a major thorn in his side since swapping over to the Hawkeye. All this utility, very little damage as an output. Logan has too many targets to focus on. Directly onto the site, though. It's anybody's game. Just waiting now to see what the go button will be. Fate of Both Worlds is available. Logan may have isolated out Doc Doc on that cap, but he runs away just in time. Omega Hurricane has been brought out. Does find some impact. Bilge does take down Fate. And again, we're seeing cycling strategists from Northwood's side. Not having consistent heals. Not having the maximum heals necessary. Could have been a missed input though. A missed position. And somehow through it all, Logan good for one, Vespa for another. That's what you need to bring it to an even game. Surely now this will go 54-54.
I gotta say, that Meteor M from Vess straight into Sum's face, that was personal, all right? Homie wanted to be the courier and drop that Meteor right on to Sum's frontal cortex, but Sum is coming up on another ultimate here. Great hook onto Quad Squad, forcing the Doctor Strange into an uncomfortable position. The healing and the support is gonna be there, but North Georgia has to proceed with caution. Fate of Both Worlds forced out early on. Haven trying to go in with that End Song Inferno. That got scouted out. He's going to be in an awkward position now, and Haven's not going to be able to get out of it.
Oh, a flurry of ultimates yet again, and Sun won't be able to find much off the Hawkeye ultimate, though. As I say that, he took down one of the most important. Sean is gone, and so was Haven. Where is the firepower? It can't be there. It's only Vespa, and he has ran away. This Hawkeye's evaded the Meteor M. Power options gone, and before Vespa can even fall, it's Northwood Georgia Blue taking back the point.
And now we're back essentially where we started at the beginning of this. Eternal Bond and Freedom Charge. North Georgia, no other ults to their name, but they're going to be able to match, if not surpass, Northwood's progress. And one easy K. Look at Sean's health bar right now. Needs to get the shield out of spawn. And again, yeah, that's in the spawn. The spam damage from the Hawkeye shots coming out from Sum is putting so much pressure on Northwood. And Sean peeks out at the wrong time. Sean takes his head clean off. Spoke tries to trade it out with that piece of the abyss. Doc Doc is trying to press the advantage, and North Georgia have victory in their sights.
Northwood have continued to want to play their own game against North Georgia Blue, but these counter plays from Georgia have worked out so much better than Northwood could have expected. It's giving signs of the same quirky plays back over on Central Park that put Northwood a run for their money. North Georgia Blue has been a team to take a map off of Northwood before, but this could be a final play. Plenty of ultimates out now. Sean, with the survivability, needs Fate of Both Worlds to keep that presence directly on site. Not only a capture, needs to bring it to overtime. Agamotto's out, isolates out the strategist. The healer is gone, and Song Inferno may have been enough. It is a confirm. A Luna for a Luna, a soul for a soul. And through it all, nothing short of a miracle for Northwood University. They capture the point back.
But North Georgia, now the shoe is on the other foot. They did exactly what happened on Eldritch Monument, but the other way around. They make that fight take so long that Northwood have to invest everything to try and get the win on it, so they don't have any ultimates coming up. Feast of the Abyss and Meteor M soon, and now, yeah, the portal gonna come out from North Georgia, and Northwood have to give ground and be ready for what's coming. Doc Doc is trying to go out on a flank and look for someone to be caught up, but yes, is able to take it down. The win caught for North Georgia, snuffed out. Some pops back, but the shots there onto Logan. It might be winnable for North Georgia, but they need a miracle, and they need it now.
That miracle had to have been Doc Doc. Fate, though, for the double. This is an early Christmas for Northwood University. Not what you want. A team life is gone. No better ending for Northwood University. A clean sweep through all maps of the best of 7 to make themselves the Division I champions of NECC Fall 2025.
And just when there was a sliver of hope for North Georgia that they could maybe claw this one back, that they can do what they've done so many times before and take a map off of the best, prove that you can make God bleed and force people to cease to believe in him, but there is no God in this tournament that can stop Northwood. They are your new kings, they are your new masters, they are your fall season champions, and just like we said, it felt promised to them from the very start. The caliber of this roster is something that no other college in the world can compete with.
Heavy as the crown for Northwood University, and they muscled through towards the end. They found a flawless streak through all their maps, but even then, North Georgia Blue was a team that gave them a fair share of challenges when it came to the microplay. I love the decision making from Doc to switch over to the Captain America. Some on the Hawkeye, another gleaming example of great counterplay. Vilch, I think, showed a lot of malleability with the compositions that he was willing to rock, but it was those two above that were shining examples of how you can play against one of the best in Marvel Rivals.
And again, like when it's this close, I mean, I shouldn't say like when it's this close. I mean, but like, you know, for Northwood, it's a lot closer than we're used to.
Close.
Yeah, this is close for a Northwood game, but, you know, you have to try and make sure that you're minimizing some of those mistakes. I'm not sure if it was a force physics or something else that happened, but there's a point where Doc just gets pushed off the map. We see that pop up in the KO feed. There's so many other things happening that we can't really draw attention to it, but that's where Northwood are able to get that flip there and force the portal play that comes out from North Georgia Blue. If Doc lives, there is a chance that North Georgia are able to get the win there, but whatever happened there ended up being what sealed the deal. But I gotta give props to the entirety of North Georgia because, again, like you said, the swap to the Captain America in the first place from Doc, some being a menace, whether it was the Hela or the Hawkeye, at times even diffing Haven, showing what makes this squad special. But unfortunately, it doesn't make them Northwood. No one else can be Northwood. And it doesn't make them champions because only Northwood could ever have been your champions.
Absolutely. And hey, look, second place isn't so bad considering how far they've come and how many teams were in the very first fall season of Marvel Rivals for NECC. I think that's pretty dang good.
I think so as well, and I do also think that the competition, hopefully in preceding seasons, will begin to level up, and more teams will start to rise to the occasion, sign more talent from all over the scene, more high-level players, and get more teams that can potentially contend with the juggernauts that are Northwood University. I got to give a shout-out to Fisher as well, because they, had to forfeit the lower finals matchup. There's a world where they potentially are in the position that North Georgia are here. There's also a world where they get 4-0 too. Who knows? I mean, there's 1,000 different timelines, but when more and more colleges are going to be coming to the Marvel Rivals scene and investing in collegiate Rivals esports, I think the overall talent pool is going to level up, and it won't be as cut and dry next time for Northwood. I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on them from here on out, a lot of coaches and a lot of schools showing how they can level up their teams and potentially be the next NECC champions.
And hey, look, that is the NECC diff right there. There's no other place in the whole wide world that can do amazing things like they do and be a breeding ground for up-and-coming talent, whether, like you said, CB, a coach, a player yourself looking for teammates, the whole hodgepodge of the competitive sphere to make yourself the best of the best for Marvel Rivals and a whole bunch of other games. Now, of course, this wouldn't be possible without our amazing sponsors. We have Wenzel, Extron, and Buy Blue Lay that have made this a possibility to get people like us to feed me and my whole family for years to come. Delicious. And of course, to protect our eyes as well. But did you know, CB, it's not just Marvel Rivals. I know, hard to believe.
I mean, there's a few other notable esports titles out there. I mean,
No, there
maybe
isn't.
Maybe you've heard something a little.
Esports.
You're right. You and I did actually. If you look on you look on the trademark for esports, the copyright, it says ooey and gooey right there at the bottom. That's us. That's us. We made it. You know what else we made? We made a little thing called Rocket League. You ever heard of it?
No, tell me more.
Well, I can tell you that Rainbow Six and CS2 are all going to be on this channel tomorrow. And if you're a fan of esports, you definitely don't want to miss it. Have you ever heard of League of Legends? A little another fun little esport. If you haven't, tune in on Thursday and you will get to see that one as well. And there's one more that I'm a little bit familiar with. You know, I can't say I invented this one. I'd rather say it brought me into esports. Is Overwatch 2 this Friday right here on NECC. It's playoff season, and there's going to be a lot of big matches across all of these esports titles, and I can promise you, you don't want to miss any of it.
And the only thing that's going to be missing, though, from that concoction so far is you. You need to watch it. You need to be there. Eat your Wenzels. Be there. And, of course, with all that, we have the perfect
Eat your Wenzels. You sound like my mom.
Yes, eat your Wenzels, and you'll like it, along with your vegetables. But, of course, that is the sugar, spice, and everything nice that comes with an amazing broadcast. Thank you so much, NECC, for having us for the fall lineup. Hopefully we'll be back and we'll be ooier and gooier than ever when we do. And we cannot wait to see what 2026, such a futuristic date to talk about, can bring for us too. And of course, we're going to be seeing you there. There's no other choice. You're locked in with us for life. but we'll see you in 2026. Have a good night, everybody.